darkness and tried to swallow me. Some days I fall, but I hear your call. I pray I don't hit the ground. Gravity.
Hello everybody, this is HerobrineSings, and this video is a bit unusual. This is a part of my interview series for YouTube, but there is also a slight beware at the end of the video involving one of the people we were recording with at the time. It wasn't any of the interviewees, but rather somebody who was off screen, and I'll get a little bit more into that here in a bit. It's kind of a doozy, actually, but the main gist of this video is the issues with VRChat's user base. We focused on people who fake physical disabilities, mental disabilities, pedophiles, trolls. Pick-me's was thrown in there just for sake of topic reason. It's not a huge issue, but a lot of people do run into them. So that's more of a throwaway thing. But it plays into issues of VRChat. There may be a different version of this video later on where I focus more on issues with its UI or how it affects people with disabilities and whatnot, but this is more user-based rather than the game as a whole. So, without further ado, I'll let you guys get into the video. The beware will be at the end of the video, and once it comes out, I will make markers in the comments so you guys know what is what, where is what, etc., and where certain interviews begin and end. So if you're somebody I interviewed, you can find your part super easy. And yeah, I'll just let the video go. Thank you. So, for anyone who has watched my previous stream and or YouTube video, this is my VR brother Phoenix. He was one of the first interviewees that I did in the previous interview. He's probably going to end up being the first one I interview every single time, so just a fair warning on that. I'm hoping that this interview will be a bigger improvement from the previous one, just for the simple fact that I made the questions a lot more simpler, a lot less questions, grouped them together, and did it a little bit better. We're going to try to keep things on track. There's going to be one story per certain questions, just so that way it's not constant rambling, and then we have somebody getting an entire hour slot. So, we're going to begin with...
here for emotional support, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that is true, because it is very daunting to do this on my own because I have social anxiety. We should hopefully have more interviewees this time from the Discord, assuming everybody can make it. I warned them ahead of time. I let them know when I was streaming, so by the time that we're done with Phoenix here, hopefully everybody else will be here. I'm going to let people in one by one, and I told them to be in the Twitch chat to hopefully get people in here as needed, but we'll see. So, let's go ahead and get this started, so that way, before my headset ends up dying on me, we get through a lot of people. So, without further ado with the first question. This question is going to be in pretty much in every single interview. Again, how old are you?
I am 25.
Okay. And let's see, what was it? So, we've known each other a long time. Obviously, I know the answer to this question, but for everybody else who doesn't know you or hasn't watched any previous videos with you in it, which was only the one interview so far, but case in point, do you personally have a disability of some kind? And if so, what is it, if you're willing to answer?
So I have a few. There's a lot of mental disabilities I have. I don't want to go into detail on them because most of them, not really anybody's business. But I do have a few physical disabilities. I sometimes have to be in a wheelchair, and I have something that is known as cauda equina. Basically, my spine presses on my bladder, and it causes my bladder to be a little uncontrollable.
Okay. Alright. So, with you obviously having a lot of mental disabilities and physical ones, is there any one particular story that you're willing to share of how your disability has personally affected you, whether it be in VR or outside of VR? Either is fine.
Uh, I guess really like sometimes when I have to use a wheelchair, it's kind of hard to be in VR because I can't really lay down or be comfortable or anything like that because just it makes it harder to move around.
Yeah. And the,
There was really one time that I
mhm.
did have to be in a wheelchair for a VRChat thing, and it sucked because I was supposed to dance at the event that night, and I couldn't because I had to be stuck in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the club owner was super kind and respectful, and he gave me the day off.
Yeah. Which I've been in the club scene. A lot of club owners might not be as understanding with that type of stuff. So,
Yeah, it's hard to find good club owners when it comes to disabilities.
yeah, it really is. I always try, when I was a club owner, I try to take that into accountability when people weren't mentally feeling well, physically feeling well. We had one dancer who was from the UK who was like always tired. Um, and he came to quite a few of our events very exhausted. I told him not to like push himself, and if he was absolutely just that tired, we could let him go ahead of time, or he could just simply just go to bed because we knew that the time difference was just daunting. Granted, it's not disability related, but it was something that is very important. And I know VR clubs are like kind of like a niche thing. Obviously, it's one of the few adult scenes we have, but with that in mind, a lot of these club owners act like it's an actual club and don't take these into accountability.
See, that's one of the reasons I also do photography for the current club that I'm in. So if I have like a bad pain day, I can do photography for the club and still help out, even though I can't dance.
Yeah. And then that's a good alternative. At least you're still providing some sort of service. Yes, you can't dance, but you can take the photos for people, and that is just as good. Photos are
Yep.
just as important. So now we're gonna get more into the overall collective of questions. So obviously with VRChat, me and you both know that people fake disabilities all the time.
Yep.
Whether it be mental or physical, I usually see it with mental, but there have been a couple that have faked physical disabilities. It's not super uncommon that people do this. So, can you name one instance that you yourself have personally seen somebody do this?
A former VR sibling of mine actually. I don't talk to them anymore just because of some stuff we've been through, but they only just recently started claiming that they had a bunch of bad stuff happen to them as a kid, and they just now, as an adult, have gotten DID.
Okay. And for a lot of people at home, for those who may not be very well educated with DID, you really can't develop it as an adult. It is something you develop as a child. So with VRChat, it's very common that people will fake having DID. There are a few users who definitely do have it, but that is probably one of the most common faked mental disorders.
That or what's the other biggest one I've seen? I think it's BPD.
Probably, I would think so. It's usually more. It's a lot of temperament based ones. I've noticed, like anything having to
Yeah,
affect your personality or temperament and stuff like that. But I would say that's probably it. I would say.
I think it's BPD because I know it's not bipolar.
Yeah,
I
which
think it's BPD.
yeah, I think it's BPD. But bipolar is one that I've seen as well. It's kind of hard to say, but I know you ran into a lot of people who fake a lot of different things. But your VR sibling, I know, was one you specifically told me about, and
Yeah,
we could go on for that topic forever. Honestly, with the amount of
yeah.
people we've.
There's also there is another person. They work for the club I'm at, and
Mhm.
they're so like they believe themselves so much at this point that it's crazy. Like they believe everything that happens is true.
Oh wow. That's
Like, I used to be friends with them, but my mental health was just getting worse because I was friends with them for everything they were doing.
yeah. And you can't prove or disprove it most of the time, but with certain disorders there are certain ways to tell if somebody is faking.
Yeah.
And again, you would know. You've seen this firsthand. We've both seen it firsthand. And we both have our own problems. Obviously, I'm not going to dive into mine, but you know,
Right.
in VR chat, you see a lot of that stuff. You see a lot of people faking stuff, and it's shit that you can't do anything about other than just like letting other people know.
I feel like with VRChat, people find it easier to fake it because they have the ability and resources to fake it.
Yeah, that is true. Like I've noticed with a lot of people who fake DID, they will swap avatars saying it's a different personality. Here the thing is, maybe your certain ones can learn to do that, but your entire system is not going to be able to, especially if they're like younger, like a toddler or some shit. Like you have like a toddler alter of some kind, or an alter that is from an older time period. The alter is going to be absolutely fucking flabbergasted and confused. They're not going to know what the hell they're doing. So
It's,
go ahead.
my brain just shut off. I'm sorry. I
No,
forgot
you're
what
good.
I was gonna say.
No, you're good.
Continue.
But that is one of my telltale signs personally. With fictional ones, I've noticed people tend to be it tends to be more common that they know what they're doing in terms of fictional ones. Like I know some people um have like I don't know, fucking Sans from Undertale as a fucking altar. I've seen that. I've seen shit like that.
The person I was mentioning earlier claims that they have Fenrir
Yeah,
as an
gods.
altar.
Like actual gods as yeah, it's like ugh. I don't know. Personally, I don't think gods are one of the altars you can have. I don't think. Uh, eh, I don't know. I don't know a lot.
I really don't think so. Like, I've delved into like the subject a little bit, and it's either very near to impossible or just impossible altogether.
Yeah, similar to like how some people are like, "Oh, I have over 100 altars." No, you don't. That is physically impossible because you would be absolutely exhausted or possibly dead. I don't know.
Our former mutual friend claimed that he had that.
Yeah, a former mutual friend of ours, yeah. And claimed that his the main altar, which was the actual person, was dead, which isn't possible.
Yeah. No, because if it was dead, the body wouldn't even exist anymore, so there'd be no altars at all.
Yeah, exactly, because it's based on that person's trauma. So how can that be true? How can the person where the trauma started be gone?
Yeah. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, not
That
possible.
makes no sense.
Yeah. But anyway, we are rambling, so we should probably get this moving on.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's good to cover the bases so people at home can understand. Obviously, we're not like I don't fully know everything, so some of my information may be incorrect, so don't take it to heart. But I do know some things for a fact because I've dealt with people with DID on this game and those who have faked it. So this is all talking from personal experience.
All I have to say is just make sure you actually do your research and don't fake it. You'll get into a lot of trouble.
Yes, you will. If you're somebody in the VR club scene, you will get kicked out for that shit. You will get kicked out of most spaces for that shit. But so we're gonna go ahead and move on from the disability talk because obviously we've been on this for a minute. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of topics I can go over, but I picked a small handful that people have mentioned to me that seem to be an issue with VRChat, more so than others, of course. And who knows, maybe we could cover even more issues in a later video. But we're going to cover, I think, about 4 others, I believe. So, first and foremost, we are going to go on to the topic of the dreaded pick-me's. We've all seen a pick-me. We know how pick-me's are. I ran into my fair few. It's it's
Yep.
crazy. It's crazy. But we'll get into it. So, in the fun topic of pick me girls and pick me boys, because there are pick me boys.
I hate that it's always so stereotypes to females though, because I've seen my fair share of pick me boys, and it's
Yeah. And we could get
it's
it.
not just the stupid girls.
Yeah, it's not. It really isn't. I've seen my fair share of pick me boys. But um so obviously in with how you're talking, the question is asking, have you seen a pick me?
Yep.
Many, many, I'm sure.
Don't get me started.
So obviously we'll dive into a story of a pick me that you've ran into. This can be your worst experience with one, by the way. But first, we're going to go ahead and I want your personal opinion on pick me's as a whole.
Oh boy. I don't even know where to start with them. I absolutely hate them.
As do many people,
'Cause
honestly.
they're just needy attention wanting, and I do apologize. I don't know if this word will, do anything, but they're just attention seeking whores.
Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of them tend to do it for trying to get into a relationship with somebody who's already taken. That is the more common form. But sometimes it's usually just somebody wanting attention from literally anybody and everybody in the lobby. So it doesn't have to be solely relationship related.
I've also seen it a lot where it's like a pick me girl and she's like a minor trying to get with an adult dude, or an adult dude trying to get with a minor pick me girl. Or even vice versa, with the guys being the minor pick me and they're trying to get with an adult or something. It's insane.
It really is. And pick me does tend to be a little bit thrown around very loosely. For anybody who uses the word pick me, remember that it is somebody who is actively trying to get attention from other people, whether it be trauma dumping or making up fake trauma or anything like that to get attention, or like actively flirting with people and stuff like that. It's them actively seeking attention. That is a pick me. And with that in mind, what is the worst pick me experience you've personally seen or had?
Well, it would obviously had to be the one that I've had. So obviously, stupid black cat seems to be where everyone is. I was there with some buddies of mine, and basically this chick comes up, and she basically saw that my pronouns were he, him, so she thought she could get her way with me. Note in her bio she said she was 12,
Oh,
which
Jesus.
is one of the biggest things I cannot stand.
Yeah.
Is children on this game, and
that is,
I
and
was
somebody
just
being,
chilling with my friends.
oh, I was going to say real quick. By the way, this game is 13 plus, just for anybody aware. So that person should not have been on this game. Continue.
I was just chilling, relaxing with my friends. We were just trying to have fun and hang out. She comes over to me, and she starts being the most sexual, like flirty, and it was, ugh. So I may identify as a guy, but I am more like I am pansexual, but I lean more towards the males when it comes to like relationship wise. So first of all, I was already somewhat just very uncomfortable with the fact that she was just coming up and making like sexual gestures at me and like trying to like she was literally grinding on my leg at that point, and I basically had to get up, move away, and she kept following after me, and because I was mute at the time, so I wasn't really speaking, but she was following me. She was trying to say, like, I don't remember like the full extent of what she was saying, but she was basically trying to get me to go to another world with her in ERP.
Oh, you.
And I was like, I'm not having this. And one of my friends said, you should look at her bio. I looked at her bio, and I blocked her immediately as soon as I saw she was 12.
Yeah.
But that was like a super uncomfortable situation in general, just because like I said, I may be pansexual, but I prefer men. So just the fact that A, it was a female trying to be lewd, sexual with me, and the second fact was she's a child, that was just, oh god.
Icing on the cake, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of pick-me's do tend to be a lot younger. Do tend to be minors, but not always. Sometimes it's very immature young adults as well. Maybe just freshly into being an adult. Um, it's crazy what you see, and it's mostly in public lobbies. I will say that you will see stuff like that, and it's crazy because it's gotten to a point that some people don't even give people a chance to do anything. If you get too close to them, they will flat out block you, just assuming you might be a pick-me. I would go as far as to say some pick-me's are very narcissistic in nature, which may explain why they are like that. I don't know. It's hard to say. They just clearly didn't get enough attention as a child. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
If I see it's like happening, I just tend to avoid the situation.
Yeah. So, to continue on, one of the next topics is. Well, let's go ahead and go with the closing comment. Obviously, we'll get more into pick-me's with other people. I'm sure we're probably going to hear a lot of crazy stories with a lot of these topics, and I know the pick-me one is probably going to have a lot of stories.
I would not doubt it at all.
Yeah, and trust me, it just gets worse from here. The questions of the topics just get worse because I try to rank it in like from worst to the not so bad to the worst. I think the two of them should be swapped around, but nonetheless, gonna be a fun day.
Yeah.
But to continue on, so obviously this next topic is not so bad, depending on the type. So trolls. We know trolls are in many things, VRChat being included. Trolls can be anywhere from literal, like, users who've been on a very long time are trusted to people who are like brand new, or they trolled so much they even got the infamous nuisance rank. Which, if you don't know what a nuisance rank is, because there is a ranking system in VRChat of how trusted you are versus how not trusted you are. If you have a nuisance rank, you are by default muted to everyone in the lobby. And it is not good to have it because most people will assume that you are a troll or a bad person. I've only seen one instance where somebody had the nuisance rank and they weren't actually a bad person at all. They just had it for some reason. But that was one instance.
I know one person with that rank too, so yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So, what is your personal opinion on trolls, both good and bad? Because we have our good trolls and then you have your bad trolls.
I mean, honestly, I don't mind trolls as long as, they, like, leave me alone and whatnot. Like, one of our mutual friends, you know them, Blaze, even Blaze and I have gone to a public lobby and just trolled a bunch of people.
Yeah.
We had an avatar that was literally, like, a dude in a mage dress, and it had this pose where you just flip it upside down and you just see his legs in the air. And we were, like, zooming around the black cat. We were telling everyone to, like, join the leg cult.
Okay.
And honestly, it was pretty fun. Like, that was a fun thing to do. But when it gets obnoxious and people start yelling and, see, that's when it
saying
gets to be
slurs.
people start to get annoying with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Assaulting people based on their bio. Just insulting people. Trolling is the worst.
Yeah.
But, like, trolling like that, like what Phoenix described here, that's fun. That is funny.
Yeah.
But
I remember one time also, the mutual friend that we were talking about earlier too, I'm not gonna say his name for, reasons. The very, very first time I met him, it was even before, I met you. And it was a public black cat, and everybody in the lobby became crabs. And it was a crab rave, and it was fun.
Yeah. So, I will say, since you've already kind of just explained like some really good memories, we'll go ahead and I will go ahead and skip like what is your good memory because you've already explained that. What's a bad memory you've had of people trolling?
Uh, oh, boy. Probably so it was a meet and greet for a TikToker,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still not sure who let the person in because I don't think they were supposed to be there in the first place. But they basically came in somebody's ripped avatar.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
There were a bunch of these TikTokers. Like it was a huge meet and greet, so there were a whole bunch of TikTokers and everybody there. And this guy came in one of their avatars, and it was clearly ripped
yeah.
because it was uploaded to his account and everything. And he started going around saying that he was that TikToker, and basically he was saying slurs and basically making it out to be like that TikToker was a bad person.
Oh wow. And was
He
that
was basically trying to ruin. That TikToker was at the meet and greet. Yes, he was there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Jesus.
And so it was crazy. It was crazy. He was going around trying to make this guy out to be really bad. He was just being really annoying. Like he was off the hook annoying.
Yeah. And that is wild that somebody would do that actually, especially when the person's literally there. Like that's
Yeah, we're not sure who let him in, but he did get kicked from the instance because first of all, he was being a troll. He was going around being really annoying, all of that, and it was very disrespectful what he was doing too.
yeah. No, that is disrespectful. And God knows who else's
time-
avatars he might have had, or even was a ripper himself and ripped people's avatars while being there.
Yeah, and I mean at the time, the TikToker that he was, disguised as basically, I was really good friends with the guy at the time. Like that TikToker, you were even friends with him for a while too. I don't know if
Yeah.
you still are or not, but like we hung out with this guy a lot, and
Which one is
it?
it?
was unfortunate that this person went and did that. You remember him as Dragon?
Oh, Dragon. He's still on my friends list. He goes by something else now, but I do have him on my list.
I think it's like Sakujo or something. I think he does like the frickin' JoJo or the Jujutsu Kaisen thing.
I think
I'm
so.
not sure because I still have him on Discord and his name. Yeah, we're not gonna go into that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember a lot of people were
It was
ripping his
really
avatars. Yeah, I do remember that, and it was so unfortunate.
Yeah.
But um we'll get some more into ripping here in a little bit actually, for anyone confused on what ripping is. So, we'll get into that here shortly. So, with the next topic, so obviously we kind of dived into this topic in the last video. But pedophilia, we're going to come back to this. We're going to talk about this a little bit more in depth. So, obviously with VRChat, a lot of minors play this game. And it kind of dives into the fact that a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people play VR games, and VRChat's been around since I think 2012, I believe.
2017.
2017. I thought it was a little bit a little bit farther back than that. Either way.
As far as I know, it's 2017. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was 2012. But either way, it's been around for a really long time. I remember watching the early days of VRChat when it was just mostly people just going around lobbies and doing the fun type of trolling, having fun, etc. And obviously it's grown since then. And those videos, people still see them. People see people like The Boys, Eddie VR, your narrator. What was it?
2014.
2014. Okay, so I was close. I was like 2 years off.
Yeah.
Either way, so they see creators like that, which, by the way, love narrator, Eddie, all of them, much love to them. They're fantastic at what they do. They made a living off of VR and now do their own things, and it is fantastic for them. It is great to see that creators are thriving from the game.
I know your narrator is still around. He showed up randomly at someone's meet and greet a while ago, and like everyone is shocked to see him.
I would love to meet narrator someday. Like
I would too.
me
Like
and
he is the person who got me into VR chat.
yeah, like the boys were one of the bigger reasons why I finally tried the game, low key. Um, but narrator and Eddie are me and my husband's like top two wanna meet on the list, you know? And a lot of people told
Yeah.
me narrator does get on. He sometimes goes to public lobbies and you might catch him from time to time, but he doesn't play like super lot. But he still gets on because
Yeah.
he loves doing what he did. Because that's what he did back then when he met the boys was a lot of voice acting type stuff. So he still does it.
Yeah.
With pedophilia, it is very rampant in this game, and because of creators like people we love and enjoy, like the boys and various other creators, kids tend to want to try VRChat. They like the content. They're like, ooh, I want to go do that thing. That seems fun. So a lot of them end up trying. It doesn't help that VRChat itself is a free game and it is actively accessible on Oculus Quest, whether it be Quest 2 or Quest 3, because the original Quest was discontinued and canned. But case in point, because of that, a lot of kids end up getting on here, especially with the influx of Christmas kids. Because
Yep.
it's past Christmas. Kids have VR sets, they have new PCs. So we saw a huge wave of kids. I avoided the game up until now. And we're probably going to see some kids. I'm not going to lie to you. But case in point, with pedophilia, it is very rampant in this game, and you will often see it in a lot of public lobbies, and it is awful. I've personally seen this shit happen firsthand in Black Cats. I've had kids try to hit on me before. That's to say that pedophilia doesn't go in a reverse. Sometimes it's the kid doing the inappropriate stuff,
Yeah.
which people don't talk about, but kids can be the ones attempting to do something wrong. But in pedophilia case, it is the adult actively making a decision to do something with the child, whether it be flirt with them, in this game, ERP, etc., etc. So, with that in mind, so have you personally ran into a case of this? Um, and obviously, what's your opinion on
I
pedophiles? I know you fucking hate pedophiles, so I don't really need to ask that question. But for nuance sake,
Yeah, I cannot stand them. It's really bad within this game, and it's I I honestly don't even have words for it. It's really bad.
they're not nice words. We'll say that.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I said
Oh.
prior, what is a case, like just one instance that you've seen?
I have had the unfortunate opportunity of meeting Tech Gangster
Oh, I've seen him in public
while
lobbies.
while he was actively hitting on children.
Oh my. Oof, wow.
That was quite the thing to join off on. I was joining a friend because they were in a public, and I just kind of joined off my friend because, I just wanted to hang out. I was bored, and at the time, this was also before I needed to have like all my safety settings and everything on like that. So I didn't really care at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I do now, so I don't have to listen to everybody right when I join an instance. But at that time, I could hear everybody talking, and I heard this voice. It sounded really mean. It didn't sound pleasant. And so I kind of went over, see what the situation was, and there were a bunch of kids. They looked, they sounded pretty young. One of their bios said they were like 13, so they were like right at that age.
Yeah.
And Tech Gangster, he was literally his avatar was full on nude, had its thing out and everything. And he was legitimately
Jesus.
trying to encourage these kids to do things to his avatar.
Oh god. And see, that's the type of stuff people don't tend to catch him doing. Like, a lot of people say he does this stuff, and a lot of people don't have the proof. But like, people have seen it, and there's countless um like stories of this happening, and for some reason he's still on this game. No, that nobody's been able
I
to
believe
get him
he
off of it.
has like I believe he has like 9 accounts. Some of them have been banned, but he just keeps making new account after new account.
Yeah. And it is an issue with a lot of police not taking it serious, but legitimately kids get preyed on this game. And it's not just this game either, it's a lot of games. But with VRChat, it's more personal because it's a social game. And I wish that a lot of like reports would get taken more seriously.
Yeah, that's honestly, I think one of the biggest issues is that because this is a game, people don't take it seriously. They're like, oh, it's just a game, it's not a big deal. And I really do wish police would take things more seriously. I've even talked with my cousin about it, and he says that, yeah, he doesn't believe children at least under 18 should be on here. He believes this game should be 18 plus only. And my cousin is a cop, and he fully believes that everything in this game should have, very strict age restrictions.
Yeah, I wish that instead of making this game extremely kid friendly like they do, it's not kid friendly. People make adult stuff on here all the time. People make literal not safe for work films on here and upload them to
Yeah.
not safe for work sites or Twitter or whatever. This game is just no longer safe for kids. Even in public lobbies, they are not safe. So if you're a parent who watches this or comes across this at some point, whether it be this video, this live stream specifically, or the video later down the line, do not let your child play on this game unsupervised at all. In fact, if your kid is under 13, they're not supposed to be on here in the first place. Even when they are 13 or older, watch them like a goddamn hawk. That they
Even
are
if
not
they're
safe.
mature for their age, like even if they're mature for their age, don't even let them on here because
Mhm.
they can still get into a lot of trouble too because they can fake their age, try and tell people they're older than they are, all of that.
They could even get into the club
The
scene, which
kids.
happens a lot.
Yeah, I remember when I first opened my club, we had like I think 3 minors try to get in, and when I asked for their IDs, they all refused. And then I got an email from like one of their parents to my direct email because I had an email linked in my club at the time that if anyone had questions or the concerns they could. I got a very upset mother messaging me saying that they were very sorry that their child had tried to do that, and they were very upset what their kid had done, and they were profusely apologizing to me that they even because they didn't even know their kid was on the game.
Yeah. And like obviously privacy is important for any child growing up, but there is times and places where you do need to monitor what they're doing. And obviously you don't have to snoop through their stuff. You could just literally go into their desktop and find the icons for things that they play, like VRChat. It's literally, it says, I think it's like a little pop-up like speech bubble with VR or VRChat in it. But case in point,
Yeah, it looks like a little text bubble.
yeah. Case in point, if you're an adult, parent, whatever, watching this, and you know somebody who's a minor who's playing this game, don't leave them unsupervised. Like, obviously 16-year-olds tend to know a little better, but they're still a minor, and I've seen 16-year-olds be groomed on this fucking game. It is not safe. I wish VR devs would take it seriously and make it to where adults could, properly not just mark the stuff as not safe for work, but make it to where they can make adult-only worlds.
Yeah.
Obviously, kids can
It's
still
the
lie,
same-
but...
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's exactly the same with VRChat dating apps too.
Yeah.
Kids will sneak onto those as well and pretend to be like 25 or something and be like, you know what? I'm gonna date an adult.
Yeah. It's a
And
problem.
these apps, which are through like VRChat too, like Flirtual and Nevermet, they don't really filter as far as I know.
No.
So
Funny...
someone could say that they're one age.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, funny enough, I did get on Nevermet as a joke because I wanted to see what it was like. It took forever for my account to even get approved. Like, you have to actively get
Yeah.
approved, but they don't age check you. They do not age check you.
Mm-mm.
As far as I knew. They might
You
now,
have to
but...
Yeah, you have to, like, if you want to age verify, you have to specifically send them, like, your ID, age documents, thing like that. Because it's
Yeah.
what I had to go through.
Yeah.
And most people don't even bother verifying, so usually the people that aren't verified, I just skip past, because I'm usually on there for, like, friends and stuff, now that
Yeah.
I'm engaged and whatnot, but I do it for friends and things, and I usually just skip right past the people that aren't even verified, because I don't know if they're kids or not.
Yeah, you don't know until you like literally meet up with them in the game, and then it's like, well, that's awkward.
Yep.
But case in point,
There are exceptions, though.
yeah, yeah, there are some exceptions and stuff to things, but obviously, in this case, pedophilia runs rampant, and sometimes kids do stupid
Yeah.
things. So it's on not only us as adults, but also the minors who happen across this as well. Don't put yourself into that situation. You guys are smarter than that. Like, some adults will have your best interest at heart, but it's better to assume that all adults are not safe rather than, assuming that they all are. Because I will promise you, like, most adults on here do not have your best interest at heart. I will say that. I've seen a lot of
They do not. They really don't.
a lot of adults on this game hate anyone who's not an adult. So even if you're not getting preyed on by a pedophile, you might get preyed on by a goddamn troll. You never know. But case
Yeah.
in point, as much as I hate to say it, this game is not safe for kids. So if you are a minor who happens
No.
across this, you're better off not playing on this game, or if you do, only in private lobbies with your friends. And that is it.
Yeah.
Th-
It's honestly really unfortunate what happens to kids too, because like some of them are unknowing of everything that happens, and it just you can never be too careful.
Yeah. Anyway, continuing on, so that way we're not on this topic too long. I think it is getting past almost to an hour, which I was trying to avoid this, but oh well, it's fine. Got a little sidetracked. It's okay. It happens. But the last topic we're going to get into is rippers, asset leakers, content thieves, and scammers. We've dealt with this many a time prior to this, so we already know. We kind of talked about a little bit prior with one of your other stories. But, so, honestly, have you personally had any of the above mentioned happen to you personally? Have you been nearly scammed? Have you had somebody rip something of yours? Have you had something of yours be leaked? Anything like that? Content stolen, even. That was one of them, but yeah.
Yeah. So when I actually first started getting into like Avi creation and stuff, I actually made a really cute eyeglass asset.
Mm-hmm.
I never posted it because, it still needed some tweaks and a lot of stuff like that. And I gave the files to one of my friends because she said she would look it over, check to see if there was anything I needed to fix on it before, I released it and made it public.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sadly no longer friends with her because she published it as her own and basically gave the package to everybody.
Wow, that is awful, actually. And that's the harsh
And
reality of it too. Is a lot of people will pretend they have
yeah,
your best interest at heart, and then they will do that to you. It's happened to a couple of people, by the way. I've seen it. A couple of people have mentioned it
yeah.
prior. But go ahead.
I really trusted her too. It's one of the reasons I let her see if there was anything that needed to be fixed before I made the item public, but
Yeah.
she just decided to steal it and basically make it her own.
Yeah, and that is unfortunate. It really sucks that somebody would do that to you. And there's nothing you can do about it other than be like, yo, I was the one who made that. I have the proof. Here's the original file. And here's the date it was made. You could tell that's an edited
And
one of it.
she didn't credit me or anything, and it kind of sucked.
Yeah. And it sucks when people actually do that shit. It's awful when people do that.
Yeah.
Like, I will...
Like, usually... Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, I've had somebody... I was gonna mention real quick, I have somebody try to steal my content before. Ironically, it was not a video or anything like that. It was literal photos of things from my Gumroad. Which is fucking hilarious that they tried to do that. Yeah. I got on them real damn quick and got their shit removed. I think they got banned on TikTok, actually. It's very rampant that people do that mostly on TikTok, but case in point.
I think, like, the other thing that, like, really sucks, like, I don't, really mind too much about edits and stuff if they're ripped, but there was one avatar edit that I had done that was really special to me. I was really proud of it, all that. And then not even a day later, I see it on the Ripper store, back when the Ripper store was still big and open.
Yeah. Which is...
Like, usually I didn't care about edits and whatnot, but that one was special to me because of,
No, and I feel
but
the
yeah.
same, because one of my favorite edits that I did, I don't even wear it anymore because I found out it was ripped from multiple people, and it was one of my favorite Enzos I ever created. Back when Enzo was popular before all this...
Your Checker Crash, or whatever he's called?
Sugar Crash Enzo is the
Sugar Crash.
Yeah, he's like the puppy one with all the candy stuff on him, which I can change into him real quick to show everybody here. I don't wear him anymore.
I was the one who told you about it.
Yeah, and my back when I was friends with one of my other club friends, you know who she is, but she even told me she'd seen people wearing it. And it makes me so upset because it was one of my favorite edits, and I would love to redo him, personally, but Enzo's are kind of taboo now because of what Beanie did. There was a case of her doing pedophilia and whatnot.
I'm not gonna drop names or anything, but I kind of have an idea who may have ripped it because he was, like, the biggest ripper at the time. Like, he got a lot of dragons, Abbies, I know he got kitties.
Yeah.
He got quite a few of their Abbies at the time, and I'm pretty sure it may have been him.
It might have been. I don't know.
How pretty this is, and it looks better on PC too.
Yeah, which I don't know. Oh, and now I know why that's not doing what it's supposed to be, because I literally am still in flying mode. But obviously, this is the Sugar Crash Enzo that I did. He's very puppy themed. He has like a lot of candy themed things. He's a sucker in his mouth. This was one of my favorite edits I ever did. And a lot of people ripped this. Obviously, I could do a lot better with this now, probably. But it makes me so angry knowing people had ripped this avatar. And knowing how much work I put into it. And this was back when when I think Fizzbones were first introduced, actually. And people were ripping him because they liked him. It's like, it's cool. It's very bright. I will say he's very, very bright. But I loved wearing this whenever I just was like super happy. That's what he was for. He was for when I was happy about something or just having a good time. That's why he was made. Granted, I would use different assets now because these ears kind of suck. You can see there's like some weird issue going on with the ears. I could probably fix that with the Poyomi shader and messing with the renderer, because I figured out how to do that. But yeah, no, he was ripped quite a lot, and there's actually, with the whole situation with what the fuck was her name? Someone, not Beanie Baby. It was somebody else I made a beware on. It was the person I made a beware. Unix Lotus. I made a beware on him. And if you haven't seen that, go see that. It is a fucking doozy. But somebody who was friends with him took it upon themselves to rip my entire avatar list.
Oh, what the?
Yeah, so like over 100 avatars got ripped from my account by this one person who was salty because he was a big asset sharer. He shared a lot of assets and avatars, and I was in the server. I was mostly spying, and that's why I was there, because I was told about it, and I figured out he tried to go after one of my friends, and that's when I decided to strike, was when he personally attacked one of my friends. I was trying to gather proof at the time, but I gathered anything and everything that I could and just struck. He is now in jail as far as I'm aware, or at least all of his shit was taken from him. I'm not sure which one it is, but case in point, that shit was crazy that somebody went as far as to rip my shit because I did that to somebody. Do I care? Fuck no. This is all pixels anyway. Second off, I do not give a shit. One of the biggest asset rippers and sharers got fucking put in prison. Fuck you. Do not care.
I mean, I could say the same thing. So the person I was talking about earlier, who used to be my family, they're a leaker.
Oh, wow.
And I found out that a TikToker that I used to look up to was in the group that they were putting all their leaked assets in. So there is a TikToker who leaks and rips assets as well.
That doesn't
So
seem too
not
uncommon.
even TikTokers are safe at this point.
No, they're not. And here's the funny thing, is that if you get on VRChat, there is a couple ways you can protect yourself from having your stuff ripped. If people are good enough, they're going to figure it out either way. But for those who don't really know what the fuck they're doing, clear your cache every single time you log on. And don't use any of your personal avatars if you intend to get in that session. Only use public avatars in public sessions, and make sure your cache is cleared of all of your personal avatars, because the game will count it as you not having any information on it. Therefore, the rippers cannot access it until you wear it.
Yeah.
That is one of the few ways you can deal with it. Personally, I don't care if this avatar gets ripped anymore, but if I find out you ripped it, I will literally rip your ass apart. I do not care for rippers. Obviously, I don't care personally about the avatar anymore, but if you're ripping my avatar, you're ripping other people's, and I will not stand for that. So, just be warned of that. But
That's one of the things I'm going to be worried about once I actually, build my 2 that I'm working on.
yeah.
'Cause I'm making those Demon Brothers.
Oh, yeah. I will say one thing you can do to protect yourself as a creator. I don't know if this will necessarily work with yours because it'll be an asset that you're going to be, eventually selling. But for anybody else who makes avatars or edits of any kind, put your username somewhere on the avatar, whether it be their foot, the hand, the back. Make a little funky cool tattoo, something. That way, if it gets ripped,
So,
your
that was
name will be on
actually
it.
the issue, though.
Yeah.
That was actually the issue, though. So, this is the Abby that meant a lot to me that got ripped. And look at this.
Hold on, it's unpacking it real quick. Woo! There we go. Yeah. It literally has your whole ass logo and name on the stomach.
Yeah, has everything, and it still got ripped. I know this is just an edit, but still. There's now, one person going around with this.
They're probably running around
Because
with the
back
shirt
when the
on,
ripper-
because if they show that, it's gonna be like, oop, I ripped it.
Yeah. Because, the other thing, too, I know, so one person had to have ripped it, and
Yeah.
then whoever ripped it put it on the Ripper store, obviously, and when I checked, because I have an account just to see who, rips my shit and stuff, I don't rip Abby's, I just do it to, keep an eye on things,
Yeah, of course.
and it literally said one person bought that edit.
Yeah, because on the Ripper store you had to pay for that, weirdly enough. But now,
Yeah.
obviously the Ripper store is
Ripping's
gone.
crazy.
Yeah. And obviously,
Well, I mean,
oh, sorry.
it is, but it isn't. It's now a forum-type website where people can look for avatars and people can still rip Abby's and give them to people.
Yeah, they'll be like, hey, can you get me this one? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. And then they find you and fucking do that shit. It's crazy.
It's so stupid.
It is. But it's not as rampant as it used to be. Ripping still happens, but it's not as bad. It's more so asset shares and avatar shares.
Yeah.
I personally don't do that shit because honestly, if I get paid for commissions. Me and the person has to own the assets. So, I rather support creators.
Yeah.
I don't I'm not rich by any fucking means. Poor as hell. But I'm not gonna go if I can't afford a fucking avatar, I'm not gonna ask somebody for the files. If it's a free avatar, sure.
Yeah.
But if it's something I have to pay for, I'm gonna wait. It's not my business to ask somebody else for files for an avatar I don't own. Even if I don't intend to share it or use it for anybody else, it's still not my business to own it. So I just don't bother.
Yeah.
But either way, case in point, rippers are a thing. Asset leakers and sharers, even avatars, worlds, etc., are a thing. People will steal your progress pictures of your work, try to pass it off on TikTok, which, by the way, beware of those scams. They are very fucking rampant. be careful. Most of the time they have VRC in their name or something like that, or VRC avatar creators, some basic crap. And
Yeah. I also will warn people,
mhm,
so it's not always necessarily a bad thing, but there is a website known as VR Models.
mhm,
Um, Most of the time the avatars aren't necessarily ripped, but a lot of people will buy the avies and then upload them onto the site for basically free.
yeah.
The only reason I use the website is if I don't want to support a creator because of something they've done, or just the creator being a bad person in whole, so I
And
don't want to
it's
give them my money or anything.
and the thing
But
is some
it's
people argue with that. Some people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't be using it at all. Even if they're a bad person, you shouldn't be stealing from them." And it's like, honestly, I think I personally kind of agree. Like, if the person did something bad, and you don't want to give them money, it's up to your discrepancy what you do. Because I have Enzo. I have the Enzo files, the original Enzo files,
yeah,
and Beanie is obviously a bad person. I don't intend to buy anything else from her. I don't want her to have my money.
yeah. Like I personally, I got Enga and Enzo off the VR Models store because I don't want to give her any of my money,
Yeah, no,
like at
that's
all,
fair. That's fair. I don't think she makes
because
things anymore. I
everything
don't
she's done.
think. I don't know.
I don't think so either. I haven't heard anything about her lately.
I have zero clue. Oh,
Yeah.
what was that? Hello? I saw
Oh.
Sarah the Cherry VT. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Sorry if I go into like the default like little pose. I'm looking to see what's going on. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Much love to you. If you're talking in the chat, I cannot see it. But Phoenix will let me know if you say hi or anything. I think we've pretty much got all the questions done. So, I mean, if there's any closing comments or advertisements you'd like to do, now would be the best time.
Mostly just watch your back on VRChat. It's a pretty harsh place. And like we were talking about earlier, it's not just the adults you have to watch out for. A couple years ago, I literally got lied to by a minor. Was in a 3-month relationship with him because I wholeheartedly believed he was 21.
Yeah.
So don't trust anyone. And don't let
Honestly,
your kids on this game.
it's a game where you can't really trust a lot of people. It is tough. It is 100% tough, and even adults can be it can be a victim. Okay. So, obviously I'll try not to take up too much of your time. I'll try to make these quick. It's mostly just asking questions and just any stories you may have on your personal part. So again, it's just a quick few series of questions. It's mostly about issues with VRChat, as I said prior. Not the game itself, but user based.
Turkey Panda. Okay.
Okay, Panda.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, we're gonna talk about people with disabilities and such. But first question, how old are you and what are your pronouns? Just so I don't get anything wrong here.
I normally don't.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, if you didn't want to say it out loud but just wanted to tell me, it's not going to pop up on stream, so you're good. Okay. So, now, this is a little bit of a personal question, and you do not have to go into full detail or anything like that. This is just so I know what questions to ask you. But, so with disabilities and such, do you have any physical or mental disabilities of your own by chance?
No.
No? Okay. So, that does lessen the amount of questions. But so with this game, I'm sure I don't know how long you've been on the game, but obvious
2017.
2017. Okay, fairly long time. Okay,
This is not the first account. This is the second one.
gotcha. That is completely fair. Sometimes this is luckily my first account. I haven't lost this one yet, but good God, it could be inevitable.
Oh, I didn't lose mine. No, I just stopped using that one.
That's also fair.
Because I went to Oculus,
Mhm.
didn't know you could link up accounts. When I merged, I accidentally merged the wrong account. So
Ooh, that is understandable. That sucks. But continuing on with the questions. So obviously with VRChat, a lot of people tend to fake having disabilities, and whether it be physical or mental. Have you personally seen any instances of this?
um, not fake,
That
but
makes
I've
perfect
seen
sense.
real people. Like I know people personally that play this and do actually have.
Okay. But okay, fair enough. I mean, some people in this game do actually fake disabilities and such. I've met a few personally. Some people may not run into people like that. Obviously, you haven't. But knowing this amount of information that people actually do fake things like that, how does that like make you feel knowing somebody would go as far as to fake something like a mental disorder or physical disability of some kind?
Um, People that do that are just yeah. I don't really want to say it because I don't know what age view all that
It is
is.
18 plus, but as long as you don't really use slurs, you're fine.
Okay. Well, people who do that are pieces of shit.
Yeah. No, 100%. That's it. It is very despicable that people do that. Um. So so moving on. There's only like four more questions, so you pretty much got to skip over a good chunk of this. But the next topic is pick me's. Now, have you personally seen any pick me's in the game? Like personally?
Yes.
Okay, that was a very quick yes.
Yes. I seen one not even I can actually tell you the server name right now. There's one in
Hmm.
uh the 23942 public server east about LT Shadow. There's like three of them in there.
Oh my. Of course, there is the rampant pick me's of right now. So, personally, for
One of them called me like four slurs
oh
that I
Jesus,
got clipped.
oh wow, I can't believe that. That is crazy. I,
I wasn't even talking. I was muted the entire time.
pick me's will find anybody to be their target. I'm afraid it's crazy.
And I was close to retaliating, but I was like, you know what? There's a mod inside the server. I'd rather not retaliate
Yeah, it's
at
sometimes better to
people.
weigh your options at that case. But obviously, with you've literally just encountered some pick me's probably not that long ago. Um, so personally, with you, how do you feel about pick me's?
I don't like them.
I
Just
don't think anybody
simple. I don't
does.
like them.
Yeah,
It's just people who just seek attention.
they do. They really
Weird.
do. And I've ran into my fair share, so I wholeheartedly agree. People just they find ways to get
I've
attention.
ran into handfuls and handfuls
Yeah.
from ones that threaten to, you know, do stuff to people.
Yeah.
Like, I've never had it personally. I've never had any of my public information leaked. But
Yeah.
everyone always says that, and people who want attention for other people will say that just to get a rise out of people. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you gotta be.
Hmm. Yeah, it's got to be diligent. So, in with the Pygmies, what is one story you particularly remember aside from the one you said earlier that you can vividly remember? You can go into as much detail as you want. Obviously, you don't have to go into full detail, but
Um, this happened actually August. It wasn't even on this game. It was on a totally different place. I ran into one. They threatened me multiple times after I told them to leave me alone and I will not show them any sort of anything.
mhm.
And if I go into my clips or anything, I have multiple clips, screenshots of like conversations of where they were just straight up telling me to go,
Oh,
off myself. They were telling other
yeah.
people terrible things.
Oh my.
Uh, they they quote unquote doxed me at one point, but
Oh.
when I looked at it, I'm like, none of this is right. None of this is valid. The only thing they had valid was my name, and they
Mhm.
didn't even get my last name. They just had my first name.
Oh wow. But yeah, no, Pygmies will do anything to get attention, and obviously that honestly that doesn't surprise me. Pygmies are rampant in any and every game, really. But I know VRChat tends to be the worst. You usually see it in Publix, typically black cats. I don't know if you've ever really went to black cats. Some people avoid
Uh,
it, but
I'm actually permanently banned from Black Cat.
oh, you're permanently banned
I
from.
can't go there anymore. Yeah.
What did you do?
If I log in, I immediately teleports me to a black room and tells me to leave. Or it
Jeez.
crashes my game, or I get kicked immediately back to the VR chat home.
Oh wow, that's crazy. What did you do to have that happen?
I used to do a lot of bad things in 2020, 2021 on
Oh
this
yeah.
account, and there's probably something that I did back then that I can't really remember. Or no. I
Thank you for the
cussed out
follow.
a moderator.
Yeah. Thank you for the follow, Christopher. I believe was that was your name? You was Christopher with a bunch of numbers.
I got I got permanently banned from that because I cussed out a moderator of
Oh.
that game because they were just being egotistic, and yeah,
No, that's
I had a high ego, came after people were being really controlative, and I was sick of it, and I didn't feel like dealing with it, so I
no.
got
Yeah.
thrown into ban. And they're trying, and they won't unban me, and they say I have to pay, and I'm like, no
Yeah.
one plays that game enough for me to want to be unbanned.
Yeah. That is fair. I wouldn't pay to be unbanned either. That's ridiculous. So I don't blame you, honestly.
Like at that point, I just go find something else. Like
Yeah.
actually speaking, let me see how Black Cat is doing because I haven't seen Black Cat in a variety box or anything.
Moving on from pick-me's, obviously the next line of defense is trolls. Obviously, we know this game is rampant with trolls, both good and bad.
Oh yeah, I ran into one.
Yeah.
I ran into one like last time. They had a
Sorry about
sign
that,
that
my
had
piece
a.
of black screen.
It was one of the brush. It was
You're
one of the
fine.
brush people.
Oh, yeah.
One of the brush avatars. They had a sign that had Didn't get a screenshot of it because nothing's open other than
Also, I'm gonna
VRChat
say
right
this
now.
now,
Yeah.
Chris. She appreciates the comment, but please refrain from comments like that, please.
What did they say? Hold up. Let me.
You
What?
said you were cute.
Oh, that's fine. They could call me cute. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. That's not, you know.
Oh, okay. I thought. Okay.
No, that's fine.
I was just trying to be sure because I know with
Yeah,
like,
I
Sue and how like.
if it gets a little bit farther than that, that's when there'll be an issue. No worries. That is perfectly fine. You
Okay,
can call me
okay,
cute.
okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
So again, with trolls, obviously, I'm sure you've had your fair share of good trolls, bad trolls, the in-betweeners, etc. So personally for you, how do you feel about trolls in this game?
I mean, if you really have a problem with them, there's like the feature that they come with that's called block user or
Yeah,
mute. You can do that.
yeah,
Like I really don't care. If I see one that's like being like extremely annoying, then I block them. If they're just being tabbed annoying, then I just go
yeah.
on my day.
Like if they're just
I
wearing an
just
avatar
keep
and just
myself
running
ignored.
around and being like, "Join me." It's annoying sometimes, but it's like it's not terrible.
Yeah, like the only thing I do is I just run around, stay on mute. I don't do anything.
Yeah, of course. Um, I don't know what they're doing. Um, but so with trolls, obviously you're very neutral. So has there ever like been a bad experience with a troll that you've had and good and one good experience? Do you have a story for either or?
I had one troll. Uh, God, I can't remember what it was. I think one read out my IP one time. That was like the only thing, but I
Oh
didn't
my,
really care. 'Cause, I mean, like they
Jesus.
can't do much with it, and if they even try DDoSing me,
Yeah,
it won't work.
because you can literally just reset your router too. So
No, no, resetting your router when you get DDoSed actually can completely destroy it.
I've personally never had issues with my router having issues when I do that, but I also don't have my IP easily accessible because I use a VPN, of course. So got to do that.
Yeah, I always have my OVH connected.
Yeah, it's better to have a VPN than it is anything else. Um,
Yeah,
but sometimes people can somehow bypass it from time to time, which does suck. But what can you do?
eh.
But obviously that was one of your worst experiences. What was your best experience? You would say?
When I watched an entire group of trolls go and raid some dude that was going on calling people slurs,
Oh, yeah,
which was pretty funny.
yeah.
Because they were just following this dude all over until he decided to quit.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be unfortunate. Um, so obviously with trolls, they're very rampant. Obviously, you're pretty indifferent depending on what they do. The block button does exist, so that is very nice. That is a very nice feature to have, thank goodness. I've used it many a time on stream. But that's just the life. So we're gonna kind of dive into a slightly more serious topic, obviously, with how topics go, and you know, can't do a VR chat issue video without covering this topic. But obviously, I know your age. Nobody else on here knows your age, but I won't say it. It doesn't really matter in this case. But case in point, obviously, there's a lot of people who chase after minors and stuff. Pedos and whatnot. Obviously, most people have issues with them, and I would hopefully assume that you're one of the few who absolutely despise pedophiles and the things that they do on this game.
I can actually tell you from personal experience, I've ran into two on
Mhm.
this game, and two of them I know are very extremely popular.
Oh, really?
And one of them actually works for a full body tracking company,
Oh, serious?
which is
Wow.
even worse.
Oh, wow. That is crazy.
Is one of the head engineers.
Ooh.
I will text the name, but I will not say it because
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Like I said, you won't see that on stream. You won't see it here. Obviously. Okay. But yeah, no, I had a gut feeling you were gonna say that company. Somehow I had a gut feeling. I don't know why, but that honestly doesn't surprise me.
really, is that company that bad? Is it really that bad now?
It's always the companies that are too good to be true. That's the thing.
I know. I literally. Oh yeah, no. And he was a weirdo. He was a big weirdo. I can tell you one thing that he tried doing, or well, the one thing that he showed me on a call one time out of the blue.
Wow. Okay. But
Yeah,
that
that's
is
not okay at all.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is oof, wow.
Yeah, and I still
shit.
have screenshots of it, and they did nothing about it when I brought it up to them.
Wow. They did nothing about that is crazy.
They banned me from their Discord server, and most of the support people blocked me.
Wow.
What the hell?
Most people are willing to ignore stuff like that when they really shouldn't be, and it's very disappointing to see that even a company that is becoming extremely popular very quickly is doing stuff like that. I mean, you have the screenshots, so if you really wanted to go out of your way and get that taken care of, you could, but who's to say people will.
Honestly, at this point, I couldn't care.
Yeah, that is fair.
Honestly, I couldn't care anymore. Like,
Yeah.
he's gonna mess, or they're gonna mess up once, and then something's gonna happen with them, so I don't care.
Yeah. They're bound to do something worse. I have one more question, which I don't know if you really deal with, assets and avatars or worlds or anything like that, like creation wise. But I'm sure you've heard of things like this where people steal avatars, share them with people. Same for assets and worlds. People rip avatars. People steal other people's content on like TikTok or anything like that. So with people who do stuff like that, how do you personally feel about that?
Personally, the only thing I've ever done is rip. I've ripped like a few avatars. This one, but that was just because I was getting rid of stuff that was.
But
Yeah, but like no, the only thing that I've ever done is ripped this avatar, and that was because there was just stuff that was broken with the avatar that I knew how to fix. So I actually muted myself because this my thumbstick on the side mutes me. I
gotcha.
need bindings for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just quick and easy mute.
Fair enough. Yeah. Like
And if and then the only other time I ever ripped an avatar, that was because the avatar literally got just taken down for no reason. There was nothing wrong with it. Actually, here it is, right here. This is the one that I ripped off of.
wow, that was
That was
quick.
just because I used to use this avatar, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, some people have their own reasons for ripping avatars, and usually times it is malicious rather than good intent. I've been a victim of that myself. One of my avatars was quite popular, which is unfortunate because I really liked that avatar, but I don't use it anymore. Granted, the creator who behind it is kind of not a good person, so I honestly don't really care about the avatar anymore. So But the edit I did was one that I personally cared about, and it's like, if they
It was special to you.
yeah, and I wouldn't have mind if they like had proof of owning the avatar and asking, "Hey, can I have that edit?" I'd be like, well, you can't have the exact edit because it has stuff that I personally made, but I can give you a personalized version." But yeah, people don't really think about that type of stuff. But what can you do? But with VRChat, it is very well widely known that a lot of people don't like rippers and content thieves, especially like people reselling things or pretending to be
Yeah,
a
I feel
creator
like
and
if
they're
you're
not.
stealing something like that, then that's just showing the fact that you don't have any creativity. Like
Yeah.
the only time where I've ever stolen this avatar, this was literally because there was stuff just broken on this avatar. This was before the person who owns this one actually updated it, and I started using it again.
Yeah.
And then I took down the one that I edited because I didn't use it.
Yeah.
This one's so much better.
Yeah.
It was just like stuff inside of the expressions menu that didn't work.
Yeah. And it happens. Like stuff
And I was
breaks.
like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think that's also one of like the. Sorry.
No, God.
I think that might also be like one of the biggest reasons some people use VR models too, because they find an Abby they like, it might be broken or for some other reason, and they try to fix it to what they think it should be fixed to.
Yeah. Personalized reasons. Yeah. Okay. Well, that is all of the questions that I do have. There's probably more topics I could cover, but we're trying to keep things short. So I do appreciate your time. Obviously, it is New Year's, so I hope you have a good New Year's. I do believe that is everything. Me and my friend here are going to go ahead and get to our next interviewee from my Discord, which, if you want to join my Discord, you can just add me on Discord. Same username is on here. There's a role in there if you ever want to be interviewed for future topics and the like. So, um, um, is there
So,
any closing comments? Anything you'd like to advertise? Wise words of wisdom?
don't be a dickhead on VR. That's all I gotta say.
Very wise words indeed. All right. Well, you are free to go. And I hope you have a good rest of your night.
You too.
So, for everybody who's not aware, this is I call you Lamots. I don't know if that's correct. It's just what
It's Lamets, but everyone
Lamets.
calls me something different, so Lamont is completely fine. That's common, actually.
Okay. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to pronounce it, but I could just call you Lamb, like a short Lam, Lamb. But
Everyone calls me Lamb, or not Tots, so Lamb or Tots is two famous ones.
gotcha.
It is what it is.
The comedic timing of it is what it is. All praise is what it is. Thank you for that. Thank you for that very comedic timing. But obviously, you've been in my previous video with the furry topic, and this one is obviously the topic of problems with the VRChat user base as a whole. So for anyone who's not aware, what is your age?
I am 16 years old.
Okay. And so one of the first topics we're going to dive into, and I'm sorry if my worm looks really fucking funny, I just thought it would be fun to use this thing. But so one of the first topics we're going to dive into is disabilities. So do you personally yourself have a disability?
I'm so sorry. It was
mental-
too perfect to do that.
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's,
so sorry.
you're fine. You're fine. But yeah, any like mental disorders, disabilities, physical, anything like that?
I am not sure if I have any. I have symptoms of a few, I believe, but every time that I've either been quote unquote tested or asked for testing from my parents or doctor, it is always denied. So I am going to wait. Hopefully in my later years, I will then go and do the test that I believe I have something. But the two possible mental health disorders that I have would be ADHD. I think, at least, I'm not prescribed this, is ADHD, and then DID.
With that, I can agree. I had a lot of issues growing up that I personally think I need to get tested for. I'm literally 27. I haven't been tested for any of them. I really need to be. It's just, I don't know if my medical stuff will cover it. So it is a problem.
Exactly so.
But no, I feel your pain, so no worries. My husband says I have ADHD, and a lot of people say I have ADHD. I also have like that's fine. If there's an ad, there's an ad. I'm not taking breaks in between. Um, but I've also had people tell me I might be have a little bit of the tism, so I don't know at this point, but it's okay. Whatever it may be is okay. But obviously
As
you
long as you're happy, so.
yeah. Obviously you're not very well aware if you do or don't. So we can go ahead and skip a good chunk of these questions for now. Maybe we'll come back to this topic in a future video if it becomes one that people want me to do more on. And maybe by then you'll know. Who knows? But
Yeah.
so with disabilities and stuff like with VRChat, obviously a lot of it does affect a lot of the VRChat user base and whatnot. And with the recent update with the EAC, the Easy Anti-Cheat, it took away a lot of features that allowed people to have better access with their disabilities and stuff. But some people also do have a tendency to fake these disabilities. Now, have you personally seen any of this yourself, where people just fake a disability, whether it be mental or physical?
All the time. It's happening a lot more within the group of the Warbun. Especially this summer, we've had a case involving a special individual that would always, and I mean always, lie about some sort of mental health issue to the point where it got really bad that we've had members actually have panic attacks and
Oh my.
had left our group because of him. And amongst him, there have been many other friends, people from other groups I were in, and just again more people in the Warbun that we've had dealt with for the exact same reason.
Okay.
And just to add this, they'll try to shove it down your face is what I see a lot, and it's quite annoying.
No, that does sound very annoying, actually. I can't blame you there. And obviously, with people faking stuff like that, like obviously it frustrates you. So I mean, I don't think I need to ask this question because it's very clear what your answer will be. But just for nuance sake, how does that make you feel knowing people fake things like that?
It irritates me very, very badly.
No, that is completely understandable. I completely agree. I've met a lot of people who typically fake DID, as that is a very common one in this game, but a lot of people do fake depression or bipolar disorder, BPD, numerous other things. Some people fake being injured, even not just disabilities, but injuries like a broken arm or a broken leg or something. So, yeah, no, 100% it is very annoying. So, I 100% understand your viewpoint with that. So, obviously, you kind of already gave me an example of somebody faking a disability, which was in your personal Discord server, which you've advertised in the previous video, and I will assume you'll do it again in this one, which is perfectly acceptable, perfectly understandable. So, I don't think I need to ask you another question of, oh, when did somebody fake a disability? I don't think I need to ask you that.
I could add another one
If
just
you,
for
yeah, if you,
the sake of it. So
yeah,
there was just before I joined the Warbun group, there had been a bunch of good friends that I had considered family for a very long time until just recently this summer that I took away from them due to drama, and just I got to the point where I was realizing they were lying about a lot of things, and something they were lying about was their everyday life. The one guy,
mm-hmm.
there's a few of them, but one of them practically said that he was a slave to his mother and his stepson, and they basically made him do everything, ruled over the house, yet I'm pretty sure that he is. Yes, he is. He is online at this moment. He goes online every day, all day, does not have a job, did not go to college. He says he did not go to high school, and yet he's a quote-unquote slave. So, after a couple of weeks of trying to help him, thinking that he's telling the truth, I actually give him professional help. Turns out everything's a lie. So that irritated the hell out of me, and I was out with those people. And 2 weeks prior before that, one lady had caused many, 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 many issues, but one of them that tends to be a very common one was pregnancy. She would always say she got pregnant. Through the time I had been in a relationship with her, and then as a friendship, she had been quote-unquote pregnant 3 times, but had a miscarriage 3 times. And says that she is 15 when I've seen a photo of her and she has a tattoo. And she lives on a military base and people are trying to kill her and she has a bounty on her head. And
Oh, Jesus.
the list goes on.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
the military thing. Oh, my hubby would have a thing to say about that because he is actually ex-military, so doesn't take kindly to fakers of that sort. So yeah, oof,
Yeah.
yeah.
She was screaming that, oh, I got people said that online that they were gonna come and kill me, and I'm currently like living as a civilian with my father. I think she said uncle, something like that,
hmm
as a civilian in this big military base, and they're like, what is your concern then? Because you're being protected by literally the U.S. Army, and they're like, oh, they don't like me. They'll just let them through. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not.
I left her after that. I haven't talked to her since.
Yeah, because if she was actually in danger, that she would not. She
and
wouldn't.
especially a minor and
Yeah.
a common threat from online that is given every day. I was actually insulted of this, like, I want to say an hour ago.
Oh wow. Yeah. But yeah, no, I get that. People love to fake stuff on like that, whether it be on here or anywhere else. But yeah, that is unfortunate that you had to deal with that.
It's only 2 people. I've had to deal with a lot more, and
Yeah.
it's sad.
Yeah. Let's move on from the disability chat, considering that was one of the more heavier focuses of this, because a lot of people wanted me to cover this one specifically. But um, so we're gonna cover the topic of pick-me's, and I assume what you know what a pick-me is, yes?
Like pick me girl, pick me boy.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm familiar with it. Not an expert, but I've been had
Yeah.
my fair share of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So with pick-me's, how do you personally feel about them?
Well, like any other individual, I don't really classify as people as a pick me or an emo or people like that, but when someone comes up to me and tells me that person is a pick me girl or pick me boy or pick me trans, whatever they say, I'm just going to disapprove of their comment because I don't like labeling, and then I will see how they are as an individual.
Yeah.
And depending on how they act, I'll like them or don't like them or be mutual, etc.
Which pick-me is just really an umbrella term for like people who are attention seeking. Like they'll make up a lie about something or they'll aggressively hit on people regardless of age or anything like that. They're essentially seeking attention. That's pretty much the general gist of it.
Yeah.
And with that term of label and things that you've personally, we'll go with the generalistic of you seeing somebody performing that act of being attention seeking instead of the label of pick me, so that way it's more generalized. But so with that, and a rephrase, how do you feel about people who do that type of stuff, whether it be in personal groups or in VRChat lobbies like Publics and stuff like that? People who intentionally try to seek out attention from other people and will lie to get it.
Well, you can't really know when someone is lying until you find the truth, but let's just say that everything that is being said is truth, and then figure out lying or something along the lines. Let's say we're in a public instance and there's a pick-me girl and she is pretty much harassing people,
Yeah.
and they're just like, "Can you get away from me? Can you get away from me?" If I see that and I'm actually want to deal with this person, I will then jump in and either take the blows or I will try to basically get her to go away. Another instance would be a group of friends or in a private instance, etc. Probably the same thing. The big thing that I'm going to be seeing though is it bothering the people, and or is it hurting the situation, people, the problem, etc. Because if she's just doing it to do it and the people that are receiving it are just like, whatever, I'm not going to bother about that. But if someone was like, "Can you please stop?" and they don't, then I would intervene. Or if someone's like not saying anything but not caring, but it's really hurting them and I'm seeing that, I would then also jump in.
Yeah.
And the scenarios go infinitely long. In general, that's what something would happen.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, has there been an instance where you've personally seen that happen?
All the time. Back to the Werbun, same person that was lying about their disabilities and basically insane, was also a pick-me guy, and he had been attention-seeking for many maximum reasons, and yeah, we couldn't really do anything about it because he was technically not breaking rules until by the last 2 weeks of what he was doing
Yeah.
to like before. But before he did the bad things, he was a very pick-me guy, and we couldn't do too much about it than just to deal with it.
Yeah. Deal with it in a way that you can.
I mean, it would really be up to anything. If we're playing games, if it's doing work, if it's being in an instance, it's anything, he would try to draw so much attention onto himself, and then after he realizes that he messed up about something, he then continues to blame it on others and say he doesn't do it. I was mostly someone that got blamed on for a lot of reasons, and I've been accused of doing some sexual connection things that he did, and he blamed it on me, saying that I did it. And luckily, people have more than 2 brain cells and didn't believe him.
Yeah.
Unless it's one person, but that's another story.
Yeah. At least most of them had a good sense to not believe that person when it came to that.
Yeah. It's sad I don't see him anymore. We only have 2 people that are still in the group from the instance. One of them is not someone I like, and the other one is never around. So it's quite interesting.
That is fair. That is fair. So, continuing on from pick-me's, we're going to talk about trolls. I think we did get into this a little bit the last time we spoke, I believe. We actually had an issue with a troll interrupting our interview, I believe, which I was luckily able to be able to cut it out.
A few, yeah.
Which is why we've
We
moved
had
to
a few, yeah.
private instances for this reason. So, with that in mind, obviously there's good and bad trolls, but how do you personally feel about trolls as an overall?
If you're trolling in a friend group and you're doing it to a correct amount of trolling, I guess you would say it, I'm fine with it. I have a friend that does it all the time. He irritates the hell out of me, and he goes a little bit too far when I'm not in the mood, but overall, I know he's just trying to troll and be joking and try to have fun and cheer me up in a way, and he does in the end, even after I cuss at him a couple bit, but he still makes me laugh. Trolling in public, on the other hand, I will say 98% of the time, people that troll on public instances, let's use VRChat for an example, they're always bad, they're always excessive, they always do too much, and it is a nightmare. I actually had to deal with a troll prior to coming here. I was playing Pavlov and trying to just mind my own business, and as a teammate, it's like, I gotta make a joke with you, and he repeatedly killed me over and over till he got kicked, and it was quite annoying. But things like that are like stop, and small friend groups, if you do it to a correct amount of level, would be just fine.
Yeah, that is completely fair. And there are instances of people trolling in VRChat where it's just like one person in like a tiny teeny avatar, like a rat or something, and they're like, "Join the rat cult" or something like that. That's funny. That's fine. It can get a little annoying if
Yeah,
it's
that's
excessive,
fine.
but it's not that bad. But then you have people literally going into lobbies and calling people slurs, and it's like that's not funny. That's literally a nuisance. Stop. That's not funny.
Or one incident, we had someone join a public lobby when we were recruiting in the War One. Someone started pulling IP addresses and
Oh.
saying addresses to some of our members, which they did to a minor, and
Mhm.
they got into some legal trouble. We had to report that to authorities, and their account got banned. Last we heard, we don't know anything about IRL authority issues, but they're off of VR chat. But
Which if you're
issues like that
which
tend to scare.
yeah, which I will say, if you have somebody doing that to you in a public instance and they are actually pulling your actual information, try recording them as quickly as you can. If you have video proof of them doing it and you give it to VRChat, they will handle it accordingly. They actually legally have to get somebody involved. Just so you guys are aware. Which is why I'm always trying to record or anything like that when I'm on VRChat. So be sure to do that, because VRChat will handle it.
And for any small community group such as myself, we always have at least one person recording at all times for these said reasons. But if you're in some small Star Wars, other army, milsim, this goes on with anything, not even VRChat, just with any group. Always have someone recording for these reasons. So it will always come in handy later during one time.
Yeah, of course. So, um, obviously we went in pretty good depth with the trolling thing, and you've given a pretty good example of a incident that you had to deal with that. So I think we've covered the topic fairly well. Obviously, you're like indifferent with trolling. You mostly don't like it for the fact of people going too far or doing illegal things, quite literally. But the smaller things where it's just like join the whatever cult and they're just running around a little avatar, nothing serious.
Yeah.
So it's completely understandable. What the hell? Next topic is one that we've kind of went into before as well. I do distinctly remember us going over this topic. But we're going to come back to the good old pedos. Oh boy. So, obviously, I know your stance on it, but for everybody who hasn't seen the previous video, is new to the stream or anything like that, who hasn't seen this type of topic be discussed, for the nuance sake, what is your personal opinion?
It is absolutely disgusting.
Yes.
The same person that, again, was faking the disorders and the pick-me guy was also a pedophile.
Of course
and
he
we
was.
found out about this a couple weeks prior to him leaving, and now sadly there was not enough information or enough evidence to legally get him into trouble at the moment, but after he left the group, we had found out he had been exchanging and forcing this young, what was she, 12-year-old girl
Oh my.
to do things, and then along of a couple other 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and we believe that he has been reported of trying to basically paying a 17-year-old to do things.
Oh wow. Oh
And
wow.
that's just the one guy. I've dealt with a lot of other pedos, but he's got to be the biggest one we've ever dealt with that I've ever dealt with in my entire life, minus the my own personal incident
Yeah.
that I had to deal with for a couple of months.
Yeah, which we did
But
which we did discuss that in the first video, so if you haven't seen it, go be sure to watch that. That it was the first time I ever did this interview stuff, but I guarantee you're going to learn a lot about the furry community because that's what it was mostly about. But there is a lot of information, especially what happened to Lamatsir. Again, I know that's not how it's pronounced, but that's so stuck in my head.
That's fine. Yes, go watch my part only, chat, just my part.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
There is
Watch the whole stream, support her all you can. She's a lovely lady. She does an awesome job.
Yes, thank you.
I just call him Mott's like the applesauce.
That's fair. That's fair.
It wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time.
This,
I've been called Famas. I've been called Tommy. I've been called Lammy. The list goes on, but we'll be here all night if I do that.
no, yes. So, okay, so we pretty much covered the topic entirely. I try to keep these so short. So the last thing, I don't know if you've ever really dealt with this personally, but it was interesting because we met somebody who was actually a ripper, but they were like one of the rippers who like only do it to like fix up avatars, which was an interesting thing. Didn't know that was a thing.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, never heard of that myself, but with this final topic, it is about rippers, content stealers, asset sharers, and people who like illegally share like avatars and worlds and assets for both or whatever. So I don't know if you're really familiar with that type of stuff or have seen it personally.
Oh, I am.
Okay.
I
So
am. I recently just dealt with an issue about it.
oh,
So
okay.
it's perfect.
Yeah. So
It's fresh in the mind.
yeah, that is very good. So personally for you, I will say, how do you feel about people who do that type of stuff, who rip and steal content or try to pass it off as their own or anything like that?
So the ripping, the stealing, that's all just bad in general. I don't like that. Now, for the random weird instance where you said that there's that one ripper that fixes avatars, and again, never heard of that, but congrats to them. I support that if they're doing it for a good reason. So, but let's say ripping. Now, ripping is that weird gray area. So, if you don't know, there's three different type of hacks. There's a white hack, a gray hack, and a black hack. White hack is someone who you hire to actually try to hack into your system, and then they tell you what's wrong. A gray hacker is someone who hacks into your system, not being paid, does it for fun, or does it for some reason, and then tells you afterwards. And a black hat is illegally hacking and doing some terrible things, whatever that may be. With ripping, I feel that there's somewhat of a similarity. Of course, not with the white, gray, and black hat, but depends on how you're doing the ripping. I have dealt with basically all sides of this. I've dealt with someone who rips avatars for quote-unquote fixing them up, taking them as their own, and trying to fix them, basically just remaking the entire avatar. We had an issue about this just recently. This individual was again also part of the Warbun, and our officer uniforms, our general uniforms, and our leader, the Kaiser's uniform, all of them, they are specialized avatars, such as what I'm wearing right now. All of the avatars had been ripped, and he was continuing to quote unquote fix them, changing the outfit, changing the hair, changing the eyes, etc. The outfit that I am wearing is a requirement. The sword I have, the gun I have, is all requirements. The hair, the eyes, the skin color, the facial structure, such as that. Well, not so much facial structure, because we need to keep the same model, but everything else that you can change pretty easy, hair color, hair, eyes, etc., that can be changed. And he was thinking that for some reason, as an excuse, he can go ahead and then just take it, give a new one to us the way we want it. Again, quote unquote, want it. And so that's a bad reason. A good reason was not the same individual, someone else that was in the Warbun. They would go ahead and steal avatars from a different group a neo-Nazi group. We would then, well, I was not familiar with this, but one incident very early on, not in this group, but a test group about this, they had stolen one of the avatars, made it differently entirely, and basically promoted their group, but in a very they were not LGBTQ supported, so he made it LGBTQ supported and started representing their group, and they managed to get like 60 LGBTQ members to follow this one guy, and then he brought them to their public world, and whew, I can't say the rest, but it got heated. Ooh, it was fun. Thank you again. If any of you guys watching this video on the stream, wherever you see this, you want to get onto VRChat and want to do some mail sim work of some sort, if it's paperwork, if it's on duty, whatever your fancy is, we got just something just for you. Word one. Okay? We got many things to offer you. We got many departments. We got many side departments. We got many working departments. If you're looking for a little bit of money into curation work, that means avatars and worlds. We got a curation department, and you are paid. Prices, don't ask me, I don't know, but it's good money. Good money for the work you put in. The more work, the more money. Simple as that, right? There will be hopefully a link in the description of the video. Don't forget that this time. Or if you... You're fine, thank you though. Or if you just want to search it up on the web right now, guys, just it's WEHRBUND, or you can join the VRChat server. I don't know if... Yeah, I don't think you can see the representing group, but I would be representing it. If you just search up my name, LAMMOTZZ, you can then add me, join the group, and we're on almost every day doing events, if not request on, etc. A lot of us are free, so. Oh no, for sure. Thank you. Thank you for the time, and I hope the rest of you chat has a wonderful day. And Phoenix and Bandit, I hope you two take care. I'm gonna take my leave. I have some things to do. So have a good night, have a good New Year's, and whatever else you wish today.
Gotcha. I might slur my words, but I'm not gonna say slurs. Oh yeah, I happen to be due drinking, but that's kind of an old note. I mean, it probably is like a derivative of them having a completely different mental problem. I mean, I don't know, I haven't really thought of it too much. I guess I've heard a lot of other people's thoughts on it, but
Yeah.
I guess that's my thought on it.
Oops. But yeah, no, it does boil down to some people might have a disability of some kind that, you know, would cause them to lie about other disabilities or anything like that, because that is a factor. That is a factor. But, you know, some people just do it straight for attention, and there's no other simple fact to it, really. Which is unfortunate, you know? But there's nothing you can really do about it. Who the heck is... I'm not playing hide and shriek, thank you. Anyway. I've been getting invites every so often. But in this game, have you seen a instance of somebody lying about having a disorder or a disability of some kind?
I mean, yeah, but more in like an obnoxious sense, just because they're trying to be obnoxious and like be an annoyance to everybody in the room.
Yeah. Fair. That does happen, so people do tend to do that, unfortunately, as well. So, it is a bit of a problem. But, I mean, again, what can you really do about it, you know? I mean, you could you can go out of your way to tell them off or just block them or whatever. It's different per person. But, would you say you yourself has a disability of any kind by chance, mental or physical, otherwise?
Oh, literally like $40 worth of medical um pages of ADHD related items.
No, that is that's very common. So I completely understand. I actually.
You just reminded me of something very important I gotta do.
Oh shit! Yeah, you go do that real quick. Yeah. I'm actually going to be getting checked for ADHD and have possibly autism or anything else because something ain't right in the mental department. So I get it,
Yeah.
but yeah, that is fair. A lot of people do have ADHD. I feel like a lot of people who play this game are probably most likely have ADHD because let's be honest, there's a lot of crazy shit that happens in this game. Ooh, you get, ooh, you all right?
Oh yeah, I smoke. I'm
Okay,
smoking.
okay. Just making sure you're all right, man. But all right.
Yeah, I'm also just started getting over the flu.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
I had it literally on Christmas.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
The worst of it.
Jesus. So with that, um, obviously with ADHD, has it like personally affected you in any severe way, or is it not really that bad for you?
I mean, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
That's why I smoke.
Understandable. For a lot of people, it can be pretty severe, and I know with a lot of people that I know, they tend to kind of bounce off the walls, so to speak. So sometimes you just need something to help you focus. So it's completely understandable. Um, but I feel that is pretty good with that. We could go ahead and move on. There's only like 4 more questions, really, so nothing too big. But so with these are some of the ones that people ask me to specifically talk about and ask questions to other users about. But um so I'm sure you've heard of the term pick me before, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So for you personally, how do you feel about, pick me's, whether they're girls, guys, whatever?
I mean, I guess I really don't mind. I haven't like personally interacted with like a real pick me before all that much. I kind of find it funny.
Yeah.
But I guess I've mostly seen the funny parts of pick me's or just like the jokes about it.
I mean, most of the time.
Dumbass lost it. Never mind.
Oh, okay. And typically pick-me's are just, people who look for attention wherever they can get it, and sometimes it's just literally running up to random strangers and flirting with them. So I've had my fair share. And sometimes they are pretty annoying. I've had people try to pull the pick me stuff on me before. I don't know if anybody's ever done that to you or anything like that.
No, not
No.
really.
Okay. Is there an instance of where you've seen the pick me instance happen, like before your very eyes in real time?
Um, no, not really, I think.
Okay, that's fine. Sometimes people do, sometimes people don't. It's very hit or miss for some people. I completely understand that. So I feel we can move on from that topic. So what was the next one? Oh, here we go. So the next one is about, every game has them, but trolls. So obviously you got your good trolls and you got your bad trolls. So with that in mind, how do you personally feel about, trolls and games like this?
They definitely can be pretty annoying, but at least you can like block them in here. And I think they can still hear you, so then you're just winning,
Yeah.
dunking on them the whole time while you can't hear them.
Yeah. Like you can mute them and then just flat out block, which if you flat out block, they can't even see you, which is nice. It's like you don't simply exist to them and they don't exist to you. So it's a
Oh,
it's a good ultimatum if need be.
I kind of thought they still heard you, but maybe I
No.
just haven't been blocked myself.
Yeah, it's if you mute somebody, you can't hear them, but they can hear you. So I think that's what you were thinking of, maybe. I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. But um, would you say there's been like for you personally in this game? Have you seen a good instance of trolling and a bad instance of trolling?
I mean, yeah, definitely. There's plenty of times to have that happen,
Yeah.
especially in like a place like what's that one bar that they always have the people at the door keeping you from coming in if you're under 18.
Oh, like clubs?
Um, yeah, I don't know what the name of this one place I go to is off the top of my head,
Mm. I mean, there's a lot of places that do
but
that, mostly clubs, so I wouldn't be able to say.
they always get really mad at the the bouncers at the door.
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. But what can you do? On to the next topic, which this one's a little bit more serious, I will say, but it is about, pedophiles actually. Which, this game is rampant with that, unfortunately. I don't know if you've seen any instances of that personally, like, happen or hear about it.
Um, I'm not too familiar with the pedophilia on here, just because my demographic of me being like a male and over like 20.
Yeah. You
But
you rather keep yourself out of that trouble. So,
I just happen to, I guess.
some people get lucky, some people do not see it, but it happens and you may not even be aware of it sometimes. You never know.
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening with all the kids on here.
Oh yeah, especially with with the new surge of like Quest kids and PC kids and such. It's Christmas just passed
Yeah,
and
it's Christmas. Everybody just got their new Christmas present. An old Quest 2.
or some kids even got lucky and got a Quest 3 for Christmas. I can't imagine spending that much,
Yeah.
but some people get lucky. You never know. But either way, personally for you, how do you feel knowing that that type of stuff is actually like rampant on this game? Like it's more common than you would think.
Um, I don't know. I guess I just feel like parents need to just keep an ear on what their kids are doing a little more. I mean, like, I know parents can be pretty busy, but even just telling the babysitter, just keep an ear out. Like, I know they can't be seeing what they're doing exactly unless they're like linked to it on the phone, but
Yeah. And I
it
mean,
is a bit of parenting that needs to be done.
and even so, you can get on the headset and even see like what games they have installed, or if they're on their computer, you can look at what apps are on there. And, with
Yeah, maybe VR chat isn't what they need to be on.
yeah, a lot of people think that VRChat should be 18 plus even because of it, which I can't blame people, honestly. Like it's bad. It's that bad. And I personally think that VRChat should be 18 plus, or at least have ways to make adult spaces easier for people. But
Yeah, maybe just something like 16.
yeah, up the age rating to at least 16 plus, so it minimizes the amount of kids on here. But
It's kind of a weird age rating, but
yeah, it's not common,
um,
but it helps. I mean, but they keep it 13 plus because they want to be able to have it on Oculus and stuff. Otherwise, so
larger
it's
market.
yeah, much larger market. Which I mean, kids also can take the liberty to make their own personal like safe spaces in the game as well. Like have friend groups that are only of people of their age. It's a lot of stuff that can be used to prevent stuff. But sometimes kids get groomed on this game and it happens. But a lot of authorities don't take it seriously either. So,
You could just teach your kids a little better too to be aware of not giving your information out, personal information, like contact.
yeah, that is true. That is very true. So, with that, obviously, we know your standpoint on, the pedos. Pedos are not good. I think we're safe to move on to the final thing. I know a lot of people might not be familiar with this one because it is pretty niche, but um, I will ask this: Are you familiar with like avatar creation or world creation or anything like that at the sort? Like even content
I don't
creation?
know how it's done really. I assume it's done on PC, but
Yeah,
um, I'm not too familiar with how it's done.
yeah. So we'll use this as a little bit of a learning curve, a little bit, whether you remember it or not. Who knows? But obviously, with things like the avatar that you're wearing, or the avatar I'm wearing, or even the ones they're wearing, which they're just cuddling in a corner right there. Um, with obviously somebody has to make these. This one I personally made, so and it is public as well. I do a lot of public avatars. And like this world, it is public. It is one that I made. People can put their own avatars in here. They just have to contact me and, give me the ID to the avatar and I can just slap it in one of the slots. And even put advertisements for them up here. Either way, content creation is a huge thing in this game, and without content creators, you wouldn't have the avatar or the worlds that we, get into. And there are people in this game who actively steal that stuff. They will rip it out of the game, take the files, re-import it, make it their own, but lie and say that they made it. And they don't credit the person, or they simply flat out take money out of people's mouths pretty much by sharing these assets with other people when people can just simply go buy them. And that's not just with, assets for the game. That's also people who make, content for the game. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with TikTok. There's a lot of content on there for VRChat. And YouTube even. So, knowing that, how do you feel about people who steal and scam people? How do you feel about it?
I definitely think it could be something done with VR chat with like content recognition of like a double upload. Like the first one's definitely the OG.
Yeah.
Um,
Timestamp.
for
Literally
like
timestamp of upload. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but I definitely feel like VR chat could be like something huge like Roblox, because like it's just this huge like thing where people can create and upload and make monetary gain from it, and
Yeah.
um, it's definitely up to VR chat to be able to hold themselves up to something like that
Yeah.
and put in something like content recognition. It's like, hey, does this thing look exactly like this thing? It's obviously a copy.
Yeah. Like, and I get that for VR chat, maybe it's a little harder for them to recognize it, but even so, like, even people will report stuff like, hey, this is stolen or something, and they'll have proof, and sometimes VR chat does nothing about it. So, how does that make you feel knowing that sometimes that's just what happens?
I mean, it definitely feels like they could take a better approach to this and listen to their the things that they give people to send feedback and be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, because look at it this way: without content creators, like people who make avatars or worlds or even like just videos about this game, they wouldn't have the following that they do. They wouldn't have the fan base or the creator base, and if they don't take that into account and they don't take proper action, then they're gonna lose everybody. Similar to how they lost a lot of people when they added easy anti cheat on PC and stuff. Like they implemented that and lost a good
Mm.
chunk of their base because people used, some cheats to be able to function in the game a little better. It was a big thing with a lot of disabled folks not being able to use certain things to access stuff better.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So it is a big problem. And, it's good to see that there are people who genuinely do care about, the creators in the game and actually see from, our standpoint. I've actually had somebody share an asset of mine that I created, which was unfortunate. So, and I've had people rip my avatars. Even the public ones of all things. Why? I don't know. They're public. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But either way, um, I will say that is pretty much all of my questions. Usually here at the end, I give everybody a little chance to plug anything they want, whether it be a personal thing of theirs that they have, like a Discord server or anything. Um, Wise words of wisdom, anything that you may want to plug here at the end, by all means, go ahead.
I don't know. I might start streaming on YouTube again on that cookie dough boy,
Okay.
holding up a little like blob of cookie dough that looks like a boy on the picture.
And if you want to send me links to your stuff so I can put it in the description, you're more than welcome to add me on Discord if you have Discord. It's the same name as it's on here, by the way. I do have a Discord server of my own.
Alright.
If you rather just go straight to the Discord, you can look up my name on YouTube. All of my videos have the link to the description. So,
Yeah, alright. I might if I remember.
yeah, if you remember, if not, maybe somebody will be like, "Hey, yo, I saw you on a video." And then you'll all come flooding back. You never know. So,
Maybe.
but I do appreciate you for your time, and I know it is New Year's still for some people, myself included. So I do wish you a happy New Year's, and I do hope that the New Year goes well for you. First and foremost, you can choose to be vague with this if you want. So how old are you by chance? And what are your pronouns?
I'm 17, and my pronouns are he, him.
Okay. Okay. So with first topic, it is about disabilities. So do you as a person yourself have any like mental disorders or physical disabilities of any kind?
Nope.
No? Okay. So one of the bigger issues with VRChat is that a lot of people, tend to fake both of those things. Have you personally yourself seen any instance of somebody faking those by chance?
I don't know for certain, but I've had suspicions of some people, but I cannot say for sure that they have or have not.
Okay, because the
Those
next
disabilities being DID, dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, that is a pretty common one that tends to be faked, so it is very difficult to tell who's telling the truth or not. Um, I will say there are some tell signs. I know a few of them, like if they change avatars dependent on the alter that they're claiming to be, or they switch very rapidly between alters and stuff like that. There's a couple of signs, but you never know. Um, so with that, I obviously you're not really sure, so I guess we can go ahead and skip like any incidences you may have seen with that, unless you want to talk about that specific instance, of course. But totally up to you. Don't have to. So
It was. I mean, there was no real instance of them swapping too rapidly. Although, if they ever, it seemed to be like more of if they were in a situation,
hmm
they just kind of swapped. Like
yeah,
just like general situations that they dislike. Not any things that would be like too triggering. Just like if we were having a conversation about Apple, like I'm just doing this as an example. This isn't something
yeah,
that they've actually done. If we were having a conversation about apples
hmm
and the alter didn't like apples, they would swap into someone who was really interested about apples.
hmm. Yeah, that is a bit more of an odd case. Like that, I feel like that would not be an actual case of why somebody would switch. Um, but I don't know. To be honest, with that one, it seems kind of iffy to me. That one sounds super iffy. I mean, obviously, somebody watches this at a later date and can confirm or deny that might be a scenario. By all means, go ahead. But to me, I don't think it is. I don't believe. Um, but again, that's just me speculating.
Yeah, that sounds very like not a general one that I've heard or seen.
Yeah. So you've heard the term "pick me," correct?
Yes, I have heard of that term before.
Okay. So for you, how do you feel about pick me's? Like whether it be pick me girls, pick me boys, any of the sort?
I mean, it's hard to say because I know at times I can act like a pick me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, it's just a want for attention because you don't get attention. But at some points, it can get annoying for other people, and I do understand that I can be annoying for other people also.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see how it. I wouldn't say it's a problem. I mean, I don't see it happening a lot,
Yeah.
but it can be annoying sometimes depending on the situation.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and put it into this perspective. So people who are actively doing it excessively, like even going as far as lying to get the attention.
That's a great point. I think if it's a harmless white lie that doesn't really matter, then it's okay. Like if you like as an example, if you say, "Oh yeah, I've been to Target plenty of times," but really you've just been to Walmart and are calling it Target,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that as harmful. But if you're like, "Hey, I got shot in the leg when I was 6 and now I can't walk."
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah. It's definitely scenario based. I'll say this. I'll ask this actually. Proper wording. Um, is there been one instance where you can say you were actively like annoyed by somebody being a pick me, like they were actively doing something wrong or the like?
I mean, yes, but no. I feel like for it to be a pick me situation, it has to be undeserved.
Yeah.
But there are people who there's a difference between being a pick me and people who are overly dramatic.
Yeah.
And I feel like I mean, for me, that's a hard line to distinguish. So for me, I can't really tell.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. So I feel like we can go ahead and move on from the topic of pick me's since we got a pretty in-depth answer from you. So I think this one might be a little bit better to discuss and possibly get some interesting perspective. So the next topic is trolls. We've all encountered them at one point or another, whether it be in this game or any other. So for you personally, how do you feel about like trolls in this game?
Trolls, it, sometimes, very sometimes,
Hmm.
if they know when is too far, it can be okay. Sometimes, very rarely. But most of the time, it's trolls going around yelling the N word.
Yeah. which which obviously is like a lot of people really dislike, or sometimes they like not even just go after like racial, it's even like LGBTQ plus or random nitpicks at people's bios or their personality or something like that. I've seen some people just flat out running at people and telling them they're fat or they sound fat or something stupid like that, and it's annoying. It is pretty annoying. And but a lot of people have made the point, there's a block button for a reason, there's a mute button for a reason, which is fair point. So, with that in mind, um, have you had any bad experiences with trolls and or any good instances?
I have had one of both. I'd say the most recent bad experience was probably like 5 minutes before you called me. There was someone outside, I think, that they were in a furry avatar. I think that they were doing it satirically, though. They
Yeah.
were just kind of running around, just kind of bothering groups of conversation. And then
Hmm.
a good experience, I actually met one of my friends one of my first days playing VRChat. I think it was maybe my 3rd day. He was just kind of trolling, being a little goof around in Among Us VR.
Yeah.
And he ended up becoming a friend. He wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah, and that can happen. It just depends on how like severe that person is being, because like we said before, there's different types of trolls, some more severe than others. Even this one right here can do a little bit of trolling. I've seen him do it before. He just good all vibes all around. It's like,
We don't even get into the trolling I do, though. I just make a nuisance of myself with friends, though.
It is what it is.
somebody redeemed it. Is what it is again. Thank you, Shadow. Thank you for that redemption. I appreciate that. It's very well timed. It's the second time that's been well timed. So, one big thing that this is going to be a way more serious topic than the last few. So obviously there's been a very large issue, especially with the previous year, because now it is the new year. But in 2023, there was a huge issue. I believe it was also on the news. But the issue with like pedophilia on this game. I don't know if you've heard wind of
Oh.
it and stuff. Judging by that reaction, I would assume so. Um, so with that in mind, how do you feel about that type of stuff happening in this game?
I mean, it's just generally negative. I mean, I don't know how you put that into words. Pedophilia.
Yeah.
Don't really know what you want me to say about that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
generally negative, frowned upon in all 50 states.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has their things to say about it, which is just flat out just being like, oh, fuck them, whatever, or just,
I think there's
generalized.
a big. I think there's a big because when a lot of things that that trolls will say,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially in places like these, like the furry hideout, they'll just kind of call everyone a pedophile,
Yeah.
which is really kind of odd because everyone that I've met that's over 18 will pretty much just block anyone that's under 18.
Yeah, they do tend to do
I've
that.
had like almost no encounters with pedophilia.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time, if you're like in furry worlds, you don't really encounter it that often, but if you go to somewhere like, for a good example of this is the black cat. Like
I
it happens quite a lot, even sometimes right under your nose. You might not even realize it at first. So, I mean, it happens. There's a couple of infamous people like Tech Gangster. I don't know if you've heard that name roaming around before, but he's
nope.
he's an infamous one that's been going on. He's been banned numerous times. Still makes it back onto this game. Obviously, with pedophilia ties into grooming. Sometimes adults will groom children on this game for whatever reason. They'll buy them shit or whatever. And a lot of people have made the point that it comes down to parents as well. Sometimes they need to step in and watch what their kids are doing, especially with the age restriction being 13 plus. There's a lot of kids who are under that on here.
I feel that
That's
a lot of
different. I was
people
about to
always
say that
Oh,
I was about to say that I would hate it if my parents stepped in, but when it depends on what age group,
yeah,
because technically
I
17
feel
and under are all children, but
yeah,
too often a lot of people will immediately go like, "Oh, the parents should be the one who step in and do whatever." And from my perspective as someone who is a little younger, I feel more often the awareness towards these younger individuals would be a lot smarter rather than just being like, "Oh, the parents need to do something," because we've been saying that the parents need to do something about it for, like 3-4 years now, and nothing has really stepped in.
yeah.
And
that
I
started with
remember
YouTube.
a
I
while
remember
ago.
that one
Yeah,
specifically.
a while ago, I had a group of people around me, especially in furry circles, talking about creating a type of like nonprofit or some sort of organization to provide information to people who have been groomed or know people who are going through the like getting groomed, and how they could like go through the process of either recovering from it or
Okay,
how
this
to
is
spot it or avoid it.
no, and you make a valid point. I will say, but here is the thing: some kids just also just know what's going on and just actively don't care, and then it becomes a larger issue because if the kid is aware and is still going through with it, it's like, well, at that point, it should be parents stepping in, but also people. There's only so much people can do in the game. You can report the person with valid proof, and it
Right.
could take weeks or even months for it to be taken care of. It's a problem. So there's a lot of factors that can play into it, and who should be doing what with it.
Oh, for sure. Cause like another thing is like the anonymity that the internet provides is what allows people to act in the way that they do. And I know that some other countries have instituted policies where like you have to like when you register an account with a game, you need to like have your like ID registered with it. Which like ideally, personally, I'm not a fan of the government just kind of like doing something like that. That sounds kind of crazy to me. But at a certain point, I feel that some things might end up needing to be necessary if this issue continues. You know, because you just can't have this many kids being harmed. And it extends past communities as well. I witnessed a guy the other day, he was like a 23-year-old talking to like a 9-year-old, giving him instructions on how to like add him on Discord, and they're like coded in like these like Nazi uniforms and just like N-words. It's like it's insane.
Yeah.
It isn't just like it's everywhere. It's a big problem.
Which I feel with a 9-year-old, the parents definitely should be keeping an eye on their child, but some parents are definitely pretty neglectful.
I've never, I have not witnessed most of this like firsthand. I never leave these worlds.
Yeah, sometimes you just get lucky and don't see it. I say get lucky, but it's not so lucky for the person that's involved. But
I think I'm about to get arrested.
But
anyone who does that gets sent to fucking jail.
Yes, they do. At least they should, anyways. But
yes. That or just.
But obviously,
okay, put it away.
Obviously, with people with like that instance, like pedophilia is just rampant in this game, and some people don't see it at all. Some people do.
Right. I try and stay pretty observant.
Yeah.
There's been a few times where I've noticed things, and it's just kind of like,
and
not great.
Yeah, and I've seen my fair share, and I'm very careful about who I talk to or who I involve myself with, and it sucks. But I think we've been on the topic long enough, and we're gonna move to the final topic. So, obviously, the last topic that we have here is actually involving rippers, asset leakers, content thieves, and scammers. I don't know if any of you have personally dealt with anybody like that, but I'm a content creator myself. The avatar I'm wearing is actually one that I've made. It's a public avatar. I have worlds that I make that are avatar worlds, normal worlds, etc. So, I'm not sure if you're familiar with any of those by chance.
I knew someone that was, I don't think he ever did, but I never talked to him for too long. But he definitely had the capability of ripping avatars and was going to.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I made this avatar that I'm wearing, just uploaded it like 2 days ago. Absolutely love it, and I would hate for it to get taken, because
I love this thing. It's my
Which,
favorite.
I will say, wearing avatars that you've personally made, if you've done the texture or you purchased the texture or are able to edit the texture in any manner, I would put your name somewhere on it, whether it be like on the foot or somewhere like obscure. Because I do that, and it helps a lot with people identifying that something of mine has been stolen. So, because typically it makes it harder for them to edit off.
You know,
because they'll notice that there's something wrong with it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll swap into this one real quick. This one was one that I textured. None of these are my models. That other one was a Nardo dragon.
Yeah.
But I have here. Oh no, not that one. Hold on. Give me just 1 second. Here, if I turn on the sweater.
Yeah.
Then I disable fluff objects.
Yeah.
So I could put my name right there, but the fluff kind of covers it.
Yeah. Which, it helps. It's somewhere on the avatar that if for some reason they accidentally toggle it on, somebody will spot it and be like, oh, what's that? So, it helps. I've honestly had my entire avatar library from a couple months back, probably like maybe halfway through the year, ripped. I don't know if any of my newer stuff has been ripped. I don't really know. Most of it's public stuff anyway. I don't really care for the public ones as much because they're public anyway. so it's whatever. But with personal avatars, it makes me really upset when people do it because I put so much love and effort into them. And, with asset sharers, like they share avatars, assets for avatars, worlds, etc. They're essentially taking money out of people's mouths if it's like a paid thing. So, people do that, and content thieves on like TikTok or YouTube or whatever, they're stealing other people's content, re-uploading it, slightly alter it, whatever, and claim it as theirs. And same with scammers. It's a huge issue with with VRChat now. Like all of this stuff is becoming more rampant, especially with the whole EAC thing. Um, it's a lot harder for them to really stop it because people are just finding clients outside of the game to do it. And that's what happens. People will find ways to do stuff. So, with that in mind, how do you feel about like people doing any of those things?
I think it's really sad. I went to a world. They did kind of credit the creators,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just an avatar world filled with a bunch of Nardos from other people's worlds,
Yeah.
right? Like a bunch of really complex ones. They kind of credited them by like putting a bunch of portals to the original worlds.
Yeah.
I don't really know what how avatars were how taking things like avatars go
So,
as far as that, but there are other worlds that just won't do that.
yeah. I will say with
I
that,
don't really
it's
know
more
how
so
it
they
works.
probably asked for the ID and they're like, "Oh, hey, I can advertise your world in this world or something." It could be that. Cuz I do that. I do that where they can give me the ID and then I can just slap it into my world. It's not really a big issue. But some people I think do rip the worlds and find out the IDs and then do that, which is really unfortunate if they do that because just message the creator and ask. It's not that hard, but you never know. But it becomes more of an issue where people, make money off of a lot of this stuff, like commissions or whatever, and they're like, and some people's commissions are cheap, sometimes they're not. And I know some people just can't afford it, but there's alternatives out there. There's free alternatives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Like, there's lots of free furry bases. There's a lot of free human bases. Um,
I don't know about that though. Free furry bases?
yeah.
I'm really not too sure. I'm not
I know
familiar
a lot.
with any of those.
There's a creator called RPG Slayer, and he has a few free models.
Yeah.
And if you look at VRC Arena, they actually link you to free furry models. I've gotten a few from them. Like there's a Hellhound.
Yeah.
There's some other models.
I
There
have
are a lot of free furry ones.
Yeah, like this is one I edited. This is a free base as well. This is the fluffy dog.
Fluffy.
It probably
It
looks.
looks like a Tatum.
It's by the same creator. It's completely free as well.
Nice.
But this is obviously a
My
personal
friend
edit of
called
a
mine
Luna.
Tatum. I want to. This is the one they made me.
Yeah, I made his. So, yeah, there are free alternatives out there. It's just sometimes people just don't care. They go for the stuff that you have to pay for, and it's like if you can't afford the stuff that you can't pay for, just get the free one and edit it up the way you want.
Yeah, but then comes with the like I have this on this avatar. I got chips and
Yeah.
cookies and all these treats and stuff.
Mhm.
And they're dynamic.
Yeah.
And I had someone like offer to pay me money to just put it on their avatar, and it wasn't even because it's hard. Like it's not hard. I just dragged and dropped it. And
Yeah.
It just automatically works.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of lazy. So some people are just kind of lazy and don't want to do
Oh,
it,
yeah.
even though it is pretty easy.
Yeah,
to
and I mean, if they
search
own
and
the
scan and
asset and they're
recapture.
if they have the asset, you own it, they own it, and they ask you to do that, that's entirely one thing. That you've both paid for the asset or you both got the free asset, whatever, and you're just doing them a favor. That's pretty much what that is. But it boils down to when they're giving you an asset you didn't pay for, or vice versa, if that makes sense. Because a lot of creators will require both parties to own it. Because then that's, asset sharing at that point. And then they lose money.
Yeah. Most creators will have that in the description. I only really use Gumroad. That's all I've ever been on.
That's fair.
Literally, that'll probably be like the second thing stated.
Yeah.
Or that'll be something stated in like the rules of owning the asset. You can't give it away. Both parties have to own it if you're commissioning on it.
Yeah. Which is completely understandable, you know. Like for me, I require people to have like this texture on this avatar is actually one you can purchase for like $2, I believe. It's a lot of people like Luna. I just made it available because I knew people would ask for it. It's like, well, you want it? It's right there. It's $2. Buy it. So, but
Mine were easier avatars to make. It was
yeah,
just put pictures and splash a color on it. That's about it.
yeah, out of your request, yeah. Which his was made before I had Substance Painter, but this Luna was made after I got it. So if whenever he pays me
Substance Painter's amazing.
yeah, once he pays me again to redo his was probably gonna look a lot better, low key.
I guess I just started like maybe 5-7 days ago, something like that. Is when I really started getting into it. Maybe 2 weeks ago is when I started to do retexturing.
Yeah.
And then I think Friday I bought the Nardo base, and I was just like, okay, time to actually work on something, and I'm so happy.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I can't describe in words how happy I was when I was finished with my first real original product.
yeah.
This.
Yeah, and that's fair. Like I've been doing avatar creation for about 2 years or so, I think. I'd say it was 2 years, and worlds have been about 1.5, maybe a little less time than the avatars. But either way, it's a lot of fun figuring out how to make your own stuff. But then a lot of people don't know how taboo it is to, use things like VRC mods, which is a site where people repost a lot of stuff. So you got to be wary of that. But some people aren't aware of it. That's fine, completely understandable. So it's just a matter of don't take it too harshly and just educate people,
Mm-hmm. I try. I've been trying because a lot of people, since I made this one,
Mm-hmm.
they were asking me how to do all this stuff, and I'm like, it's really not that hard. VRC Fury is just kind of like a blessing.
Yeah, a lot of
It
people.
really just kind of does everything for you.
Yeah, it really does. But and there's a lot of tutorials on avatar creation too. There's literally YouTube videos, like thousands of them out there for you to just, look at. That's how I learned a good chunk of what I do. So, that and experimentation, so I believe that should be everything. That was kind of the final question of sorts. It took a little longer than I expected simply due to fact and random peanut gallery people coming in, which didn't happen before, but whatever, what can you do? At least they were respectful and not trolls. But so here at the end, I usually let people have give a little bit of words of wisdom, plug some sort of like
Wisdom.
wisdom, content creator thing. If they're content creator or anything like that, they can plug it in here, and then they can add me on Discord, give me any links that need to be thrown in, or whatever. So, any final words?
Nope.
Alrighty.
Here's my words.
Hmm?
You do not recognize the bodies in the water.
Oh. Well,
Where do I know that from? Here, I got some final words.
okay.
Look, Lenny, it's the rabbits.
Oh no. I thank you for your time. I do appreciate it greatly. I don't know what time it is for you, but it's still New Year's for me, so I do wish you a happy New Year's. Alright, I thank you guys for watching the initial part of this entire interview series. There will be another one coming out hopefully within next month or the month after that. But I'm going to dive a little bit into this beware of one of the people that was involved in the video initially. This will be short as we don't have a whole lot on this guy, but I guess this is more of a just keep your eye out type thing. I don't know if he'll end up watching this, but if he does, well, oh well. So, one of the people that was involved in the video was the person we called Bandit. He went by, I think it was TL Bandit. Let me look. Yeah, TL Bandit. He has 2 accounts. And we know for a fact that he was stating that he was at least 19 at the initial recording. I thought I had recorded him saying it, but I guess it didn't pick up, or he never verbally said it in the videos. It was more so outside of the recording. But he told us he was 19. We have reason and suspicion to believe that he is not actually 19 and is in fact younger, or is lying to get with older people because of his age. We aren't sure which one it is, as we don't have any like verbal confirmation from him, but this is observations made by me, their ex Phoenix, who is my VR brother, and just his behavior inside of club communities that Phoenix is specifically a part of. Bandit has been seen flirting with a lot of dancers, specifically female dancers, and we've noticed that they're a little bit on the older side of things as well. And an incidence of why we think he's lying about his age is that we noticed that in his original profile, he completely removed his bio. And in the other one we have, there is no age. Even though it was present in his bio at one point. I believe it said he was 19, but in a different Discord server, he claimed he was 21 or older. Which is weird because we know for a fact he's not. So I don't know why he's lying about this. It's not really a huge deal if he's lying, if he's 19 lying about being 20 some odd old. But if he's actually underage and invading into these adult spaces, then there's an issue. And this was ironically a good portion of what we talked about in this video, and is a good example of people lying to get what they want. We don't know if the breakup between him and Phoenix is the one thing that triggered this, or if he's always been this way. We have no idea. But for everyone else's sake, I've put his whole profiles in this video so you know what to look for. So just be safe. Please be careful. And I thank you guys for your time. Hopefully I don't have to do one of these bewares at the end of any of my videos again. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching this video, and y'all have a wonderful morning, night, evening, whatever time it may be when you watch this video. See ya!